Welcome to the Knife Junkie Town Hall. This edition we are calling the Show and Sell edition. That's what Jim and I have been calling it, kind of tongue-in-cheek behind the scenes, because this particular town hall, we're looking at it and the timing. Hey, Jock, always a pleasure to have you from across the pond. We're looking at this in this weekend. This is the weekend that Blade Show was rescheduled for and then was, of course, canceled. So we thought it's about time to be doing another town hall. We kind of like to do them once every other month or so. And why not have something, hey, Christoph, why not have something where we're talking to makers, talking to manufacturers and the people we've had on the show, but have them, well, have some knives for sale. If, for instance, they're left holding the bag when Blade Show is canceled, they have some knives they made for that show. Maybe they could sell them here. I know a lot of people actually just make the knives and sell them as they go, so they might not have something to sell right here on the spot. But it's always good to check in with the makers, see what their new models are, see what they've got going on. LA Knife Life, good to have you. Good to have all of you. Chad, I saw you were there too. It's a great thing to be able to come together and to meet these people who are making these things that we love so very much. So please make sure that you comment with questions when the knife makers start coming on. Leave comments or ask questions. And actually, if you go to the TheKnifeJunkie.com, hang on. Go to TheKnifeJunkie.com/join to actually join with your camera and all of that. But I was just distracted by what Jim put up. If you look in the upper left, you see that new V44 Bowie from, that's the one from Bark River Knives. Well, recently I've been going on and on about how I need a new Bowie because the ones I have in my possession right now just aren't enough. Like this one, for instance, which I just so happen to have here on the desk. Beautiful old Western Bowie with a bone handle. Not sure what kind of bone that is. I don't kind of want to know sometimes. So, but anyway, I saw that one come out in an email that was very handily sent to me from Knives Ship Free. They're very good about that on a weekly basis, showing me these covetable knives. And this one, oh my God. Well, I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. Excuse the French, right? But I saw this and it knocked my socks off. This is just about exactly the thing. But they also make this model. This is brand new from Bark River Knives. They also make this model with what's called a Moran handle. And so that stacked leather handle that you see there, beautiful, awesome, useful, gorgeous, love it, except when compared to, hey, Edwin, always up for a new Bowie is Edwin, indeed. But the Moran handle is this contoured, I don't know, almost looks like the bottom of an axe haft in a way. It curves, it's got the horse hoof sort of pommel, and it's sculpted out of micarta or, some exotic woods, as Bark River will do. And so I think that might have to be the birthday knife. That might have to be the thing that I just, justify that purchase with my upcoming birthday. This thing is gorgeous. So anyway, sorry, Jim, I got off on a tangent there, but if you go to TheKnifeJunkie.com/join, you will be able to join in the conversation, come on screen and that kind of thing. Excuse me while I pause for some delicious coffee. So good. So what are we going to be doing today? Well, first we're going to be talking to Matt Martin of Vehement Knives. We're going to have Douglas Esposito from Attention to Detail Mercantile on. Both of these guys, they'll be coming on separately. Everyone will be coming on in, as long as no one sees it. Actually, quite the opposite, Timothy. If they can see it, I can carry it. But where I live, there'd be a lot of pearl clutching as I walk through the grocery store with that giant Bowie on my hip. I guess as there should be in a way. But Matt Martin will be on. He's got a lot of cool new things, especially daggers. I want to talk to him about. Douglas Esposito, Attention to Detail Mercantile. He'll be on next. And Knife Whisperer, Joe, it's good to see you, sir. And he has been knocking it out of the park with his folders. I mean, I have this beautiful, he does these incredible fixed blade knives. I have this fighter from him. This is his medium fighter. Yeah, that's right. You see a glint on the top edge, ordered by me. And the beautiful and quite classy, if I do say so myself. Tortoiseshell. Anyway, but he's been making these incredible flippers and folders now. Rich says Matt Martin, coolest dude ever, and his wife makes great sheets. Yes, very cool guy. And I didn't know. I did know his wife made those sheaths, but I forgot until you just reminded me. And yeah, those are awesome. I mean, stout leather work. You can't replace it. Then we're going to have Andrew Demko on. I hope he has an 80-20 that's kind of just left spare hanging around. Alan Elishewitz will be on at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have Bastien Coves of Bastinelli Creations. I was just flipping through his Instagram. He's very prolific there. And also he was doing this incredible karambit flow with his new iconic fixed blade karambit that he has produced with Microtech. And they also make a trainer. And he was doing some really cool karambit stuff with that. But also, incidentally, or not incidentally, they make the first automatic karambit, at least that I've ever seen, on a semi-production basis, the iconic automatic. And if you want to see like just the coolest like spy movie knife you've ever seen, check out that knife. The automatic iconic. The button is right by the ring, so you pull it out of your pocket, you have it with the ring there, you press the button, this sickle blade comes out. It's intense. We're going to have David C. Andersen of Nordsmith Knives, and also you know him from Blade Center. I'm sorry, Knife Center. I just conflated Blade HQ and Knife Center. Anyway, you know him from Knife Center, but he's going to be on to talk about his knives, Nordsmith knives, which are incredible outdoor knives. We have Marianne Halpern. You know Marianne of Three Rivers Manufacturing. She probably will have nothing to show because they just can't keep those things in stock. And then we have Sanford Owen of Monterey Bay Knives, and they have been just coming out with a couple of new and really incredible models recently. One by Jerry McGinnis, one designed by Peter Carey, and they're just knocking it out of the park. So we're going to be talking to them too. So we have this long list of people, 8 people, and we would love to hear any sort of comments or questions as they come on. And remember, some of them might have a knife with them that they can sell to you. So take advantage of that. And who knows, maybe some sort of a discount code might happen. Who knows? And I mean, you know, I can't furnish that, but the makers, I don't know. Maybe so. So first up, we'll have Matt Martin. Hey, Jim, do you have the Vehement Blades website on hand by chance, or their Instagram? They just put something up recently that just, it made me kind of clutch my stomach and double over. It's so cool. It's called the Thrax, and it's a recurved dagger. So it's got a recurve on both sides. It looks like something you would carry as a Greek soldier. You know what? I think it's so new that it's not even up there. But it was on his Instagram. So I want to talk to him a little bit about that. I don't know if that's going to be part of the lineup now. Also, they had another sort of small. He's just doing a lot of daggery things, and I'm very interested in that. I was just about to look him up, but how lame would that be to be a host of a show and then just to get lost in my phone on Instagram? I would be the biggest hypocrite in the world, because that's what I'm preaching all the time with my daughters now. Put down the screen. There's life outside. Go out there and get some of that fresh air, some of that vitamin D. They're like, yeah, it's really hot in Virginia in August. I'm like, well, it is a little unpleasant, and the mosquitoes are very friendly. There it is. All right. So you got to take a look at the second one in, the Thrax. Yeah. That knife is just, now look at that. Who among us would not love to carry that on a at least daily basis? You know, maybe not for Wegmans or the ShopRite, but it's a beautiful knife. I'm really digging the work that they do, that Matt Martin does over there at Vehement Knives, and his wife with that sheath. Look at that thing. Now, what would you call that? I guess that's a recurve dagger. Okay, so anyway, people out there, let me know, what do you think of that blade shape? It looks eminently useful for the menacing things. Just in EDC, thank you, Bob and Jim. This is probably the closest I will get to Blade Show. Yeah, us too, man. Us too. That's the thing. This was going to be our year. Jim and I were talking plans in February about going out to Blade Show in June, and it was they were wistful conversations over Chinese food, and really looking forward to it, really figuring out how great it was going to be to meet the people that we've talked to on the podcast and stuff, and just kind of be there and present. Every year you're sort of blessed with all these Blade Show videos on YouTube, and that's always really, great to see what's going on. And also you get to follow some of your favorites. This past year, Eugene Kwan's Blade Show videos were awesome. I watched them all, and I felt like I was hanging out with him there. And then you also get the purveyors, the Blade HQs who talk to the manufacturers and stuff, and that's always great. So even though those videos are great and they make you feel like you're there, we were really excited to actually be there. And then pandemic rolls in, that kind of thing. And so we knew June wasn't happening. And then eventually Jim and I both decided, even if August was happening, we wouldn't be going, just because. And we have certain concerns of our own. That reminds me of the giant mouse dagger. I don't know the giant mouse dagger. But so we knew that we were not going to be doing that. So here we are. I need a guard on that Thrax. Okay. I could see that. I'd probably want a guard there too. Unless, you have it in reverse grip, maybe. Giant Mouse Ragna Dagger is the name, I think. Ragna. I wonder if that's kind of like Ragnarok. Sounds very Viking-esque. Hey, Stasa, Nick, good to have you. Blade Show is the one thing I looked forward to all year, and was I bummed. Well, yeah, me too. This was going to be, it was also exciting, like, for me, a little nerve-wracking too, like, wow, I'm going to meet all these people in person, and not necessarily nerve-wracking, but knowing that it was going to be a big social experience, and to meet, shake these people's hands, feel the calluses from working the steel, and then, really get to know them. I was very excited for that. But next year we will all raise a glass, or no, not a glass, a horn. I'll bring my Viking horn. That way, you can never put your drink down. No one can ever slip you a Mickey. And also you're never parched. Let's just say that. So what do you think about that Thrax? A guard on the Thrax. I just want to say one other thing. Hey, Ryan, great to have you. Happy Saturday morning. It's great to have you. Ryan was with us on Thursday Night Knives. He does something we're starting to call the Grail Call, because he gets some incredible knives on a frequent basis. I think he said it's tapering off, but still, we get a nice chance to see what they carry on the other side of the tracks. The nicer side of the tracks. Ryan has a killer collection. I love it. Yeah, I think my answer, and then we'll put this issue to rest. I know it's a pretty big one, but my answer is, if I got it cord wrapped, no guard. If I got it with a micarta or stacked leather, Matt does beautiful stacked leather handles. If you got that with a stacked leather handle, yeah, I'd want some big brassy kind of double quillion symmetrical guard. But as it is, I'll take it. I'll suffer. Yeah. So, more fixed blades. I feel like I need to start moving back in that direction. For many years, my main fascination was with fixed blades, and due to the Rambo and the Commando and the Commando especially, but also Predator. Those movies, to me, I wanted to carry those knives. And then, hey, Caleb, nice to have you here, sir. And then once I realized, as an adult, you can't carry those knives, and it's got to be folders. So folders. I got a giant, well, not giant, but I have a Craftsman toolbox full of them. And now I'm like, have I been neglecting the fixed blade? Is this not good? Saturday Night Knives. Hello. Hey, Rusty. Good to have you here, sir. As always. I'm wondering, sometimes I wonder, did I email Therapeutic Edge? Nice to have you, sir. I was just about to do a video on this the other day, yesterday, and then I got interrupted. But this thing, thank you. Peter has loaned me this. This is the new SOG Seal XR. And as I described the other night, it is the most jimped knife in all of history. Every surface here is jimped, except for the blade. You know, SOG, really? You're only going to put jimping up to there? What if I want to do this? Anyway, I love this knife. Really intense. And I got to say, what a great execution of the bar lock. So, yeah, great job. Great job, SOG. Ryan, slap that like button. Thank you, Ryan. That's something I don't say, is it? Come on, guys. Mash that like button. And you see this is the little red bell. Hit the little red bell. That way you always know when I have something to say. And I know you want to know when I have something to say. And I know I frequently just say things even when I don't have much to say. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so this is the show and sell. Hey, Cameron. This is the show and sell edition. And so hopefully soon we will be talking to Matt Martin about, hey, we have Douglas Esposito. How's it going, sir?
Good. How you doing?
Good, man. I was just about to talk about this little neck knife that a listener and I are putting together just in our spare time. But now that we have you here, it's great to have you. So Douglas Esposito, attention to detail mercantile.
Yes, sir.
Before, when we were just coming on and I was kind of doing a little welcome thing, I was talking about your knives and how, I knew you first for your fixed blades, of which I have one, the medium fighter, that is just so cool and awesome, beautiful and classy. But you've been doing a lot of folders lately and looking like you've been doing them your whole life.
I feel like with the amount of time that I'm spending on it, right now it is my whole life, Yeah. I mean, I get out of here. A couple hours to do some jujitsu, and then that's about it, man.
Yeah. So Douglas has a beautiful jujitsu studio, and in the back is his knife shop. And it's when I was there, when I went to pick up my fighter, it was a tight affair back there, but I know you stretched it out a little bit, expanded the shop a little bit.
A little bit, but just like always, it's already full. If I either got to get rid of some stuff or but I can't complain. I'm able to do the stuff that I need to do. So
you're like water. You fill up the space. So my favorite knives right now that you're making, if I may, are the Mark Ones. You put out two called the Cylons that have these beautiful Cylon-esque fullers in them, right? Yeah. And I thought those were the greatest thing I'd ever seen until you put out the Mark I with the micarta inlays and the contoured handle. You don't have a sample of that in front of you, do you?
I can grab it, but if you want, I was going to save this for later, but I'll jump ahead if you want.
Please.
I've also been doing some with the carbon fiber.
Oh, okay. So
they're contoured and with the inlay, and the inlay is all contoured as well. So this is I'm literally working on this one right now. You can see it doesn't have the hinder or the other, and that one's got a two-toned brushed and Cerakote blade. And then the other one that I'm working on is with the high and tight grind, and that one. This one's kind of it kind of gives you a wood grain when you contour the regular 2x2 carbon fiber, which is kind of cool because people are like, oh, it's kind of like a wood grain, but it doesn't look like that going in, but you end up with that. And then the other one I did with forged carbon fiber, and I'm put a high and tight grind on that one. And again, I'm literally just tuning this one up. It's not on the website or anything, but it's just like that micarta one where it's contoured and inlaid. Yeah. And I'm really digging these. Like, they feel good, they fit. It's a large, but because of the ergonomics, it feels really good. And with the contouring, it carries really, really nice. I've been carrying the first the first barbell that I did. I've been carrying that, right? And
yeah, that's cool.
And it's contoured with the basically, barbell knurling pattern on it. But there's a couple little minor things that you wouldn't notice to look at it right away, but it's not. If somebody spent a bunch of money on it, I couldn't sell it. So I was like, well, I'll carry it and see how it goes. And I don't even know it's there. It's super comfortable. I'm not trying to brag on my stuff. I'm actually kind of surprised. I'm like, this is this big hunk of titanium and steel, and it rides real nice. I usually don't carry that big a knife. Usually I carry like one of my smalls or my mediums, and
so there are a couple of things I want to highlight. The high and tight, I want you to show that grind off. That's badass. And then also an anonymous viewer, Stacia, said something that you're the greatest knife maker of all time.
Anonymous.
And I want you to show off the high and tight grind, but also I want to emphasize that something that you're doing a lot with this what do you call it? Plan form, this shape that you've got in the Mark I is all different kinds of handle configurations. You've got these smooth contours that you're talking about disappear in your pocket. You've got the more robust big frag patterns. You've got this really cool knurling like from a barbell, and then it looks like you have some fat carbon fiber somewhere there.
Yeah, the carbon fiber, the fat carbon fiber, and if you scroll down far enough, you'll see also there's some laminated the carbon fiber or the fat carbon, and then the stabilized wood I'm laminating to titanium. So you got like 40 or 50 thou titanium laminated to, and it's like aerospace epoxy, so it's super. There's one, the wood one all the way there to the right there with the black blade. Yeah. Yep. So it's not just stabilized wood. There's actually a liner that's titanium. So it's not a liner lock per se, right? Because the other side is a full body lock, but that side is laminated titanium, either fat carbon or stabilized wood, or that's ironwood right there. So.
Hey, Jim, does it work if you press play on that? Will it play over this platform? Maybe not. I'm not sure. But yeah, if you...
Oh, yeah.
Check it out. This is what we do over here. Oh, look at that. That's nice, man. So it's an aggressive... Well, it's a... What do I want to say? It's kind of a... to me, if I... categorize this, it falls in line with hard use design, if you will, fine execution of hard use design. But you make this model in a number of different sizes, right? Like this one looks relatively small, right?
Correct. Yeah. So there's with the Mark I there's basically just like t-shirts, small, medium, large, and then XL, and then there's the fixed blade and the folder. That's the majority of my folders. I was challenged by a guy. He was like, look, the medium Tonto fixed blade that I have of yours is like my favorite knife, and I want it in a folder. And I was like, okay. So I've also done a Tonto folder that's as close as I could get and as much blade as I could get into the handle, and is very close to the ergonomics of the fixed blade Tonto that I did. So I was like, okay, challenge accepted. So that's kind of there's the Tonto, and then there's the Shanto, which is the shorty, but they're exactly the same. Just the closed is an inch shorter, and the open is 2 inches shorter, basically on the Shanto. But those are the same thing. Like with the Mark I's, all of the finger choil and thumb choil are the same size on, like this is the large and this is the small. And we've talked about this before, but like, I don't know, the thumb choil is the same size,
right?
And the finger choils are the same size.
Yeah, it's not like you're making the small for a smaller human or a smaller creature. You're just making a smaller knife to fit the same.
Yeah. So the first two fingers and thumb interface are exactly the same. So I wanted to do the same thing with the Tonto and Shanto, And so there's some of those up on the Instagram and Facebook pages too. So
the Shanto. So that's the okay. Jim, can you put that up? That's the Flipper, the Flipper Quake. And it's got kind of a nice curved.
Yeah. Somebody saw it and they were like,
right down there.
Somebody
right.
said, well, that's very Jake Hoback, But I mean, it's a Tanto. There's only like I didn't copy the guy. I didn't like take his, like, this is literally from my fixed blade. I took the outline and did that exact thing from it. So there's some longer ones that are, like I said, the full Tantos, and then those 4 right there on the right are the Shantos or the shorties.
So my knife is the one on the bottom left. Look, those are the shorties. Those are cool.
Yeah.
Now that's what I'm talking about. That's a perfect example. That picture has 4 different handle styles there. All. How are you doing that milling?
On a CNC.
CNC. Okay, so you didn't have that, I think, when I came to visit over a year ago. Actually,
no, I got it because I needed to do. I mean, you pretty much need it for folders, just for the precision and accuracy and repeatability. Right. So they're all still hand finished, but getting all the parts so that they're flat, parallel, and all the holes are in exactly the same place so that they go together. They're just naked, sharp. I got sharp pieces of titanium when they come off the mill, and then I still hand finish everything and put it all together. But yeah, I don't. I don't manually mill these because that would just, I'd have to charge twice as much for them,
Yeah. And you would only have an opportunity to make a fraction of them. I mean, it seems to me that's, the art changes a little bit. Show the high and tight grind, please.
All right.
Now this to me is very appealing.
So this one is like super high and tight. And there's not even a false edge on it because it's so high. But I wanted it to kind of the line to tie in from the finger choil up through and down. And then I don't have one right here. Oh yes, I do. We also do it with a this one's dirty because I'm working on it, but we also do it with a false edge on there as well.
Ooh, yeah, that's nice. And what is that handle material on that?
This is Zircuti. Chad Nichols Zircuti. So that's another one that I'm working on.
I hate to bounce back, but that high and tight grind, is that hollow? When you turned it, it looked like a bit of a hollow.
So on the smalls and the mediums, they're hollow.
Okay.
On the larges, I would need like I need to get like a 20-inch wheel or something. I do everything that I can do hollow grind. I pretty much hollow grind, but the large, the grind would be too low because with a 12-inch wheel, it just doesn't get high enough. So the larges right now are flat ground, but the smalls and the mediums are hollow ground.
The fighter you made for me is hollow ground, and even the swedge is hollow ground. But this main grind is so fine. I mean, this is something about this knife that is really. I mean, it's part of what I enjoy about this knife is how thin it is. I mean, you really thin and even. I love a hollow grind, and because it's not like I'm out beating on wood and stuff, and you know what I mean. Getting crazy with my blades is what I mean, and so that hollow grind, well done, Christoph. That is a very nice grind, says Christoph, and he is in Die Schweiz, I think.
Thank you, Christoph. Appreciate it.
So what do you have coming up? What are your main challenges right now, just in terms of creativity? Are you looking to tackle a new model, or what's
well,
up?
First I got to unload all these knives that I made for Blade Show.
Well, there you go.
And then I did some prototypes. When I prototype stuff, I do them one at a time. So the Tantos that I did were prototypes, and then off of that, like I said, everything was the same on the Shantos. So I made the fixture for the CNC, and I did those. So I still need to make the fixture for the Tantos so that I've got some orders for those. I've got all the parts. But I need to. But I've been putting together knives to try to get them ready for Blade Show and get to the show, and I've been needing some parts from my buddy Steve Kelly over at Tie Connector for my smalls. So I don't have any smalls up, but I just got those parts yesterday, so I'll start putting together the small. So really, it's just a lot of housekeeping and trying to get caught up on all the stuff that I made for, I overproduced a little bit for Blade Show, because Blade Show usually does really well for us. So now I've got a little bit of a surplus, so I'm just trying to get that stuff up on the website and get it out to dealers if dealers want it.
So Edwin Callow, who's a great fan of the show and man, it's got an amazing collection, is interested in the price range for your Blade Show knives.
Yeah, so everything that I do is anywhere between basically $275, $300 to $1,200. $12 for the high end stuff, and maybe if it's Mokutai or Zukutai, obviously it's going to be a little bit more because of but the best thing to do is just go to the website, the ATTN2 detail Mercantile, and check it out. And if you got questions, reach out, let me know. I make all this stuff, so if there's a small change or if you've got questions about anything or whatever, I'm pretty flexible.
So when did you decide that? Well, I guess, did Blade Show decide for you? Were you going to the August show? Were you planning on?
Yeah, I was going to. Look, as a new knife maker, I kind of have to. Any opportunity that I have to get out in front of people, I need to. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, that was how all the knife makers got known, was going to the shows and getting in front of people before socialist media was upon us. And now with socialist media, you can't pay to advertise knives, right? So on Facebook and Instagram, I can post pictures, but I can't sell from there, and I can't even put links back to my website that sells and promote it. I can't promote those posts. So it's like, it's double whammy. I'm kind of shut down as a new knife maker. I'm shut down on socialist media from advertising. So the shows have been great for us the last couple of years. And so not having the knives this year has been a real kick in the dick,
Yeah. Well, I mean, to meet people and to also, it's one thing to meet a person or to look at a knife like this online and lust after it. And then when you feel it and hold it and manipulate it in your hand, and you have that experience, and then you meet the person who made it, and that person happens to be cool. Oh my God. I mean, that rounds out the experience, right?
Well, I'm sorry I let you down on the cool part, but all that other stuff was good when we met, right?
Man, this jackass makes some incredible knives. Look at that. I like that. Is that heat ano on the blade in the lower right?
So the one in the lower right and the one above it are straight out of heat treat. All right. So that's CPM 3V. CPM 3V, you get some really good. Not always. It's like 1 out of 10 or 20 you get a really cool pattern out of. So I like to keep that. There's a couple other makers that do that, like Blaine Dwyer does it and some other cats. So I actually will clear coat, Cerakote it, right? So the different steels, you get different heat patinas on it or whatever from the heat treat. So that's S35VN, and it had such an amazing thing on the blade. I was like, oh, I got to put this with some Zukutai and keep this. So not only there's the heat treat, and then I also clear coat it to help protect it, because I mean, just like anything else on the surface of a knife, it will come off over time. All right. Let me show you this one that I'm working on right now, because the blade is gorgeous, and I haven't, but like that's some S35 VN, and I'm gonna thermally anodize the caveman grips, but I just same thing, it's a little shiny because I've got the clear coat on it to protect it. But that one came out so well, I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta keep that one. So
it looks like a nebula through the Hubble telescope. Ryan was asking, do you have the laminated Bog Oak Mark I handy to show?
I don't. I'd have to get off and go in the other room and grab it, but I can if that's a.
Why don't you, if you can run and do that, and I'll talk for a minute.
Okay. Oh.
Or perhaps a medium in black Cylon. I don't think he heard that. He didn't have his headphones on. That's cool. Yeah, that Cylon is sweet looking. Now, as you all know, Battlestar Galactica was an awesome show from the 70s that was made even awesomer in the early 2000s. And that Fuller, I think, is obviously a nod of the hat to that aesthetic. What I was going to say when he wasn't here, because I hate to compare people, but I would put his knives on the shelf with my Striders and Hinderers and Les Georges and Harseys. They have that kind of feel to them. Oh, hello, he's back.
I'm back.
I was just talking about you as you were walking away. No, I was talking about your the Cylon, and I'm not sure if you heard me as you left, but Ryan was also curious about perhaps a Cylon.
Yeah, I picked that up as well. So
Right
this is the stabilized Bog Oak, and it's a hand finished blade, so it's hand sanded. It's a spear point bayonet grind, but it's flat ground so that we could hand sand it well. And then you've got the Bog Oak stabilized, and that is laminated to the titanium. And then I also did a little bit of engine turning or jeweling on the inside on the liner on those.
Oh, nice. So that's that sort of overlapping circular pattern.
Correct. Yep.
Oh, that's cool. That is a beauty. Now, let me ask you about the finish on the blade, because your camera is Moran a tiny bit. That is a hand satin, right?
Hand satin, correct. Yeah,
Okay.
It's like 400.
Okay, beautiful. Because at some angles it catches the light, and it starts to look like a mirror. It's doing it
to my shirt too. So
yeah. Hey, David, good to have you. David says, awesome to do this, as it is something I'll be checking back through the day. Awesome. Good. Thank you, sir.
So, and then here's the Cylon. And this is the bodies are contoured, and they're what we call ribbed for her pleasure as far as the texture.
Yeah. Can you put that up real close to the camera so we can catch the texture? Okay. Yeah. It's I can see that. Oh, that's nice. So that's like micro ribbing for texture.
It's literally ribbed. And all of this is a satin. Everything that's picking up that, it's not mirror, it's a satin right. Finish. As is the pocket clip satin finish. Yeah, I see where it kind of does some weird stuff there. And then there is a false edge on those with the fuller that comes all the way off.
Nice. Ryan says the dagger grind is insanely cool on that one. Nice call on hand rub finish along with the Bog Oak. Beautiful.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Yeah, I think so. Noah's not here today. Noah comes and helps me a couple days a week, and I'll be losing him soon to Marine Corps boot camp. But he was like, Coach, we got to do. He's like, he was just like, we got to do some hand rub finishes on these. I'm like, oh, okay, that's. I said, if you'll do the hand rub finish, I'm good with it, because my hands get enough wear and tear, and I've got arthritis already, and I'm like, man, I'm not going to sit there and hand sand a blade. So any of the hand sanded is 100% Noah's toil and idea. So I'll give him all the credit on that for sure.
So LA Knife Life says, damn, I might have a new Grail knife, which is awesome. Noah's the young gentleman who he's a student of yours, but also he's the guy who made the Wakizashi recently.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That was cool to watch.
It's really fun to work with Noah. I mean, Noah's been making knives longer than I have. So people are like, oh, is he your apprentice? I'm like, not really. But he, it's great because we have a different approach. He always would make one knife at a time and then just kind of, sell it for whatever, and didn't really understand not that I'm the foremost business expert, but he didn't understand the business of it. Or, I'm always working on at least 3 knives at a time. I don't just make one knife. It's like, hey, dual prime and tape you got to have backups. If you mess something up, you got 2 more, whatever.
Right. Hey, Douglas, one quick, we're going to have to wrap.
Okay.
But before we do, Ryan had one more question. He wanted to know if the fuller on the Cylon also acts as an opening. Like, can you Spidey flick it kind of?
I haven't tried because it's a flipper. So
right.
I'm sure you can. It's a fuller. It's deep enough. I can't Spidey flick any knives. I can't, just because of my knuckles and stuff.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But Noah, whenever somebody's got a question on it, he'll take a video of him Spidey flicking it, and so I can't say that I've done it, but as a flipper, I don't know why it shouldn't work. If you can do it with the hole in the blade, then you should be able to do it with the
fuller.
The fuller.
Awesome. Well, Douglas, thank you so much for coming on and showing these beautiful flippers, these beautiful knives you've been working on. Everybody, hit up Douglas Esposito at Attention to Detail Mercantile on Instagram. It's a great channel. It's always updated, and actually, your website, unlike many knife makers, is always up to date, because I'm always going there to check out your work.
If I can, I wanted to have everything loaded up this morning, but I got a little behind. So I will be loading. There's more stuff going on today. And then throughout the week, as I'm finishing stuff will go up as well. So definitely check back.
Okay. I know I will be. All right. Thank you, Douglas.
Thanks for having me, Bob. Really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure as always, sir. Take care.
Right. Have a good one, brother.
You too, man. All right. So Jim's telling me we have Mr. Andrew Demko in the green room. You may know him from such hits as the Triad Lock, the Scorpion Lock, and the I knew I was going to forget the one from the he's got the new Shark Lock, of course, and that's what we're going to be talking about because it's so cool. But what's the one from the Pocket Bushman? Someone tell me. Well, I guess maybe Andrew can tell me, but someone tell me before Andrew comes on, so I'm not looking like a Mama Luke of the Year over here. All right. Well, I guess I'm doing that on my own just fine anyway. So, Andrew, are you there, sir? Is that what we're doing? All right. Just kidding. All right. So really, now that I've been talking birthday knives, I have been eyeing up the micarta inlay large, the Ram Lock. Thank you, Blade Ogre. I knew someone was out there for me. Thank you. I appreciate that. The Ram Lock. You know why it's called that? Because the spring rams the lock into the back of the blade. Jim lost Andrew Demko. He'll be back, no doubt. Maybe the satellites are flying weird over PA right now. Hey, Andrew, how you doing, sir?
I made it.
You made it.
How are you?
Good. I was just waxing poetic about your 4 locks.
Okay.
I was just basically setting you up. How is it going with the production of the 80/20s? And were you going to be going to Blade Show this week?
Blade Show after they postponed it?
Yeah.
I was going. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I know that this is certainly no replacement, but I'm glad it's a Saturday and you get to talk knives and show off a couple of your 80/20s and other things. So how's it been going with the production there?
Well, it's been a real hit. We've been really, really busy, much more than we expected. So we're, every day we get emails from our dealers and customers, and yeah, it's overwhelming actually, the response. So thank you all for that.
Well, in case any of the viewers have been in a dark, cold place, can you show an 80/20?
I can. Okay, here is Blue Black G10 80/20 clip point.
That's gorgeous. Put the if you would put it up to the camera so that we can see the lock and the pivot on the other side. And beautiful knife, man. So how are you liking, as the designer of this lock, how are you liking it now compared to your other babies, lock babies, that is?
Well, this is my favorite, absolute my favorite. It's my favorite both to make It's my favorite to use. And actually, to be honest, I prototyped some of these before even this Scorpion lock, but I just couldn't get it right. So I put it aside and I did the Scorpion lock and kept on working on this. So this actually, though, it's the pinnacle of all my thoughts and lock design right here. So this is where I'm at. It's my apex.
That's good.
Lock because of but I like sharks better. So
oh, I got you. Yeah. Apex lock would have worked too. That's a cool name. But you know what? Apex. If you have Apex and Triad, they're both a little mysterious. Shark lock is I like it. It's a refreshing. Rusty, a big time viewer of the show, says that the 80/20 is his current Grail knife, which to me is that's got to be a compliment. Let me ask you this: what are the most popular configurations of the 80/20? If someone reaches out to Demko Knives and says, "I want to buy an 80/20," do they have a choice from what you've made, or can they haul off and get what they want?
Well, right now we've taken very, very little orders from customers. We're trying to fill all of our dealer orders first. So kind of they're all allocated right now to dealers. I don't like to compete with my dealers. So when they don't order anymore, then we'll start putting knives up on our website for sale. But I can tell you probably the most requested knife is the one I didn't even make an MG version is this color handle, which I have these handles. I don't know what it's called because it might be neon yellow or neon. I don't know what it is.
Canary.
But it's bright, and I like it a lot. And this blade, which I was calling this the shark's foot, a little play on words. So anyway, my next MG, my next machine ground, this is the hand ground. You can tell by the big, huge hollow grind. It's not done. But
hey, Lindy.
I'll do that. Probably my next run of MGs will be that blade shape. But right now, the only MG we did was the clip point blade.
That's a beautiful clip point. I mean, you've made a lot of clip points, and I love all of them. Put that last one up from Ryan, if you don't mind, Jim. But I think you have a real affinity for that blade shape. Ryan says, "Love the idea and function of the shark lock. Having not handled it yet, does the fin stay out of the way ergonomically, or is it a bit of a hot spot at all?"
Well, it could be a hot spot if you're using a normal grip. I never feel it. Although if you're really, really choking up on it, where your palm of your hand is over this, I could say it could be. But honestly, I've just never bothered me one bit. So it's possible. But again, I have really hard hands from, machine work. So. And
also, people might find it uncommon that with their, forgive me, I'm not using your knife, but that it might be uncommon that they would find themselves in the choil bearing down that hard too often with a folder. So maybe in some extreme circumstances that thing could be there, but in that circumstance you're probably flooded with adrenaline and not thinking about that on your hand.
Yeah, I haven't had any complaints so far. People have asked me that, and I said, "Hey, may hurt you, doesn't hurt me," but no one has said, "Oh yeah, it hurt my hand." So that's it.
Yeah, it's like right. On the new SOGs, they have a lock on the back, and I saw that, and I was like, what's that all about? It's like a secondary lock, which I bristle at anyway, but not a problem there either. Look at that. So this is the Scorpion lock. This is your 80/15. Now, what happens to this knife from your shop when you're in 80/20 mode? Do you work on just one folder at a time?
No, the 80/20 mode, when we're in 80/20, well, any of the MGs, we're making at least 200 at a time. Because the machine grinding, there's a 200 piece MOQ, minimum order quantity, to run the machines. So I'll make 200 blades, and then we'll cut the blades in shop and do all the machining and do whatever we need to them. Then they'll go to heat treat, and then they'll go to the grinding sub and they'll grind. While that's happening, we machine all the frames and make all the parts, the locks, whatever, either 80/20 or 80/15. Trying to juggle time of what takes where. So like a blade will be heat treating for a couple weeks and then grinding for 2 or 3 weeks. So in that few week period, we'll be working on the rest of the knife.
All right. So I'm just watching that knife while you open and close it. Do you have any designs to put that lock on other frames, or am I just getting way ahead of you?
No, I'm glad you asked that.
Oh.
When I designed this, it's all my thoughts put together. So actually, with these, if I left this layout, pin, stop, pin, pivot the same, then I can use this. If I, like, say you took a picture in CAD of this area, we can build a knife all around it, and as long as it fits in the handle, yes, it will work. So I have a 4 max size of this that I've prototyped, and it's just scaled up. I have a smaller one, and I think I showed you before, because I consider it a very modular system. This is the exact same knife. But it's an earlier handle, a little bit different, and I have, which I really like, kind of a kukri flare.
Yeah.
With solid backspacer, but it's the same knife from here out. This is one of my earlier blades, but in fact, I can switch all these parts. I can put all the parts from this production knife, blade, lock, into this handle. The only thing that won't work is the clip, because they have different hole layout in the back. So all the lock is very, very universal to be used in other designs.
Right. I mean, so it seems like, once you get that geometry right, or that all of the interfaces correct, and like you said, you could just, as long as the spacing between the pins and the pivots are the same, you could literally make a tiny little knife out of it, or a giant.
Yeah.
Giant. You mentioned the 4 max. I finally got a 4 max in the Scout version from Cold Steel, and man, I thought the 8010 was enough. I was like, I love this knife, and then I have all my giant Cold Steels. I kind of felt like the 4 max was an in-between knife. I'm like, I think I got it covered with the 4 max. And then after a podcast, Jimmy Slash actually sent me a Scout 4 max. He was like, no, bro, you have to try this. And wow, was he correct, man. I love that knife, man. The 4 max is so cool. So to think of you doing the shark lock type knife, an 80-20 in 4 max, max 20 or whatever you would call it, sounds really cool. Do you think you would have to curve the handle in the same way you did with the 4 max?
No. In fact, the handle I did on that is more like this one, since there was a lot more room.
Okay.
So basically, the regular 80-20 handle scaled up, but with the kukri flare in the back, because it's a big knife and there's room to do that. Right.
And you might be chopping with something that big.
Yes. Well, my whole thing is, I walk around in the woods and in trails, and I walk around like this, and I just hit branches. That's what I do. Fun time. And so that's why I got into the 4 max size, because it's like an actual pocket knife that can remove some pinky sized branches or whatever.
Right.
In one swing, without worrying about, if you're chopping, if something broke, it's going to get you on the rebound sometimes, as you're chopping. But a one swing, usually you're going to get through it. So that's kind of like, I like all my knives like that. That's why the 80-20s are slightly, people, I don't know if people say, oh, where's the balance point? They're quite blade heavy. And there's a big reason for that, is because when it's blade heavy, it hits harder, Yes.
I see what you mean by that.
In fact, when I always made the 80 or this 4 maxes, I always made a G10 backspacer, because I want that little bit of more balance forward. And every time you put a titanium backspacer, it shifts the balance a little bit. And guess what? You can always cut more free hanging rope with the G10 spacer than with the tie spacer, because of the way it balances. And it's very small. It's a real nuance, but it's proven over and over again.
So you were planning on going to Blade Show. Do you have a surplus of knives right now of 80-20s?
Well, I wasn't sure if this was a show or a talk or a sale or whatever. And so I brought 4 knives because we can sell. If you're selling knives today.
Yeah, let's do it. Show off what you have to sell.
We're working on, we have probably over 100 or 200 dealer orders. And my brother's out in the shop right now working. And so I didn't tell him about this. I walked right out. I said, hey, do we need knives ready to go? And he's like, what? And I go, I'm going to we'll be on a podcast. So I grabbed the four most unique ones that were out there. So there's because I haven't sold any to dealers. This is, where the hell's the camera? There we go.
Right there, yeah. Beautiful.
Black, blue G10, which I told him make me one like this because I think it's stunning, the black and blue. So it's a regular 80/20 MG with the black, blue G10. Same thing, green, black G10. And we didn't have, these aren't on dealer orders, which they have some have open orders. Mm-hmm. And so like if they said, hey, we want those knives, or they didn't order these specifically, I wouldn't take them, but we just build knives and they take them at this point. So this is a green, black. And then I have the two sculpted. This is the one I'm quite in love with.
Oh, that's cool.
It's sculpted, and then yellow and black G10. And then lastly, this is, I would say it's black and brown, but it could be black and red. Actually, it's probably black and red. The red is always kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's transparent, so it's real dark. But so it's a sculpted. Well, they're all double layer G10, two-tone G10, but two are sculpted, two are just
patterned.
Yeah, patterned.
So what are the cost of these knives?
So the standard MG cost for the 80/20 is $425 plus shipping. But since we're at a show, I'll take care of shipping. So you get free UPS shipping in the United States. Not in the United States, please contact one of my trusted dealers. And then $450 on the hand sculpted stuff. So there's two for $450, two for $425.
Okay, I might point out on the ones for $425, there's one with an opening hole and one without. What's the deal with that?
Oh, you know what? And also, I'll make sure. Okay, this one is 3V.
Okay, 3V.
3V on the green black.
And then the others are?
Let's check. So they're scribed on the inside of the tang.
Okay.
And then they're also scribed on the flat if you open the knife up. 20 CV on the blue black.
Uh-huh. So Edwin wants to know, how do I buy one? Can he just email you right after this?
Yeah, I'll just have him email info@demkoknives.com, and my brother will be like, what in the hell's going on? But, yeah, but he just say I bought this from the virtual knife show.
So I think that was my brother or my father. They have the same name. Who said that the yellow one that you're holding in your hand is super sweet.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want one, it's so funny. I read Knife Junkie want one, and I was like, yes. And then I see, oh, this is a lower third to tell other people how to buy it from you. So go to info@demkoknives.com. Tell them, is it John or you who will?
John.
Okay. Tell John that you saw this knife on the Knife Junkie Town Hall and you would like it. And Edwin is doing that right now. Thank you, sir. Which one are you going to buy, Edwin? I'll take one too, says Spirited Blades. Which one are you getting there, Edwin? 3V or one of the sculpted?
3V, and I made when I did these, I like the thumb hole. We talked about that, but some people, and they've ordered them, they said, I don't want a thumb or a slot, so some have slots, some don't. I did more 3V without slots because 3V, as you know, is a harder use steel than the stainless 20 CV.
Yeah.
But these are available with and without. They're both available with and without slots, but the majority actually made with the slot.
Okay. I knew it was you, Vito, by the way. And actually, while you're on, Vic, maybe you buy one. I'm just kidding. So my brother just sent me a picture showing me a big box that he's sending me, and I think there's a knife in it. So I'm very much looking forward. Can you hold that one right up to the camera so we can see the sculpting on the G10, please? I love that. I love it because it's you get. All right, so Edwin got the 3V with the thumb stud.
Okay.
Just so Ryan, who also wants to get one, knows he can't get the 3V with the thumb stud. But I'm looking at this right now, and I like you got the regular patterning, and then you've got the definite like hand touch of the sculpting. I like that juxtaposition.
They do. We do the same machining to the surface of all of them, and then we'll go back through and do the hand work. So what's cool about that is, hey, it looks like a shark kind of. Well, this one looks like a hornet maybe, but you know how the sharks have that different one. And if you see 6 of these on the table, they're all 6 different, which is, you know, kind of to me special too.
Yeah. All right. Well, Andrew, we're going to wrap it up here. But I just want to, A, thank you for coming on, and B, congratulate you and John on your success with the 80/20. It is a really, really cool knife. Congratulations on Andrew coming up with another revolutionary lock. I think we know what your niche is. Not that I'm trying to pigeonhole you, but that's something we can count on from you, you know. Excessively strong and interesting, great to use locks and knives. So I want to thank you, sir, for coming on, and everyone else. Ryan, I know you're interested in getting one, and maybe Vic is. I'm not sure, but if you're going to do this, email the Demko Knives brothers over there at info@demkoknives.com. Andrew, thank you so much for coming on the show, and we'll see you again soon.
All right. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Got it. My pleasure. Take care, sir. Therapeutic Edge Peter says 3 of my top 10 all-time knives are Demko designs. Yeah, I'm with you. I have a bunch of Andrew Demko designed knives in my case over there. Actually, probably more than I even know, because I realize he did design a lot of the knives that Cold Steel was releasing that he maybe didn't get a lot of credit for. Maybe not credit, but you know what I mean. So this next guest, I have only one of his designs, but it is greatly coveted. Alan, hello, sir. I'm just looking at my axe. I'm just looking at my tomahawk that you sent me, and I love this thing. It's great to have you, sir. How's it going?
Good. Just arrived over here at my friend's place. Been driving for a while. But yeah, everything's great. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, my pleasure, as always. So, this is the weekend of the rescheduled Blade show, which was canceled. And so I wanted to check in with makers and find out, what's going on, what you've got that's new, what you're working on, and that kind of thing.
Well, I mean, I actually drove up to Atlanta, so Blade show was going on. I actually booked a small private class with Dave Savigny, and he actually lives north of Atlanta in Canton, Georgia. And so when Blade got canceled, I was like, yeah, I'm not canceling this. This guy is a phenomenal shooter, athlete, and so I just went ahead and continued on, just drove up there and did the 2 days, and now I'm over here at my friend Kyle Lamb's place, and we're gonna burn up some steel. We're gonna make some knives, and we actually maybe might shoot a few guns. Yeah, maybe.
So before I ask you this next question, I just want to say BJ Hill, Hilltop Gear, said he also has your tomahawk, and he absolutely loves it. He's a presence on YouTube. He's been doing some really cool modding work lately, but everyone seems to love that tomahawk. But for people, just catch people up on what you do besides make knives, and then we'll talk about your revolutionary designs with your own designs and such. But first, you're talking about shooting. What is it that you do? What's your background?
So before knife making, I got into martial arts, and I started that when I was 10 years old. I would have started it sooner. Okay. And I don't know if we have time, but it's actually a funny story. It really is a funny story. Okay. So this is in the early 70s. I was living in Medan. That it was at the time the capital of Indonesia. And, I was like 5 years old, and it was recess time. Yay, recess. So we were all running out there, and we wanted to play. I think I found like a jump rope or a rope, and I made a noose out of it. And I was going to be a fisherman, So I climbed on top of a slide, and I was just kind of hanging that rope out over the edge and just kind of going, I'm fishing, And about at this time, I bet you everyone's thinking, oh, I know what's going to happen. And so I snagged something. you know, and so I caught a fish. So I started yanking on this rope and yanking it, and the teachers were running, screaming, and I was like waving at them. I caught a fish, you know, I caught a fish. And I caught a kid, you know, and he had the neck burn. Neck was probably 2 inches longer, and and so everyone kind of looked at me like I was some kind of psychotic kid, and I wasn't able to get into martial arts sooner till I was 10 years old, you know, because everybody wanted me to go through some kind of therapy. You know, it wouldn't have been so bad if the kid wasn't the son of the British ambassador.
You know,
I guess he was not invited to any of the British embassy parties.
Oh man,
you know,
that little psycho Alan.
Yeah, you know, that's actually a true, legit story. You know, and so I would have been in martial arts like 5 years earlier. So, so you know, I got into martial arts. Been doing it my whole life. You know, trained in Thailand, Taiwan, Athens. Trained in a lot of different systems. Got in the military. Went in the Marines. Became a Fort Observer 0861 artillery and naval call for fire scout. And
so wait, what does that mean?
Okay, so they were the eyes of the guns. Okay, so it would be a small team that would go out and they would spot out targets and call artillery, naval, call for fire, or we will have planes drop in and drop bombs. You know, and basically, you're sitting there in the middle of nowhere, looking at a target with a bino and on a radio calling in fire. You know, and so that was my job. I got out of the unit I was assigned to because it was a headquarter unit. And I requested to go into a recon unit, which they accepted, you know, because you just don't go, hey, can I be in recon? You know, so they have to accept you. And I was lucky to get into a team. And then I was sent to a BRC, which is basic recon course, and became a 0321. And then became a team leader, and then a DRP, which is deep recon platoon. And then I got out.
Recon platoon. So you're sneaking into enemy territory before anyone else. That sounds like what all these jobs are that you're describing.
Basically, yeah.
So,
you know, and the thing is, it's not what a lot of people think it is. We are not supposed to engage, you know. So it's usually about a 5 or 6 man team, and the main thing is not to engage, is to report back.
Right. You're not using blowguns and taking out sentries, but still, exactly. You're sneaking into enemy territory. And to me, that, you know, that's not something everyone does every day. So it seems like you may have relied on your knives a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I there's a point where it was about maybe 3 years. Every single time I'd go out to the field, I'd try to have a new knife. You know, so I was making new knives, and the first time it was like this 9-inch Bowie. Oh, I'm so proud of that Bowie, you know. And so we had a chance to get back to the to camp, and I buried it in the bottom of my sea bag and pulled out the K-bar. It was just way lighter, you know. Yeah. And from there, everything started shrinking down, and I was like thinking, oh, you know, the 6 1/4-inch Maxog knife from Vietnam, that's probably a reason why it was 6 1/4 inches. So then I started making all my knives around that size, you know, and yeah, it was way more useful.
So let's flash forward to today and describe to people how you make knives. What's your process in terms of, you know, do you make a whole bunch of them at once? Are you, tell us how you do it.
Okay. I used to make them in big batches, and big batches meaning about between, I would say 15 to 30. And that was in the good old days when I was young. I had a lot of hormones and testosterone. I could handle the stress. Now, no way. It's probably max of about maybe 8 or 10. You know, it's just, and plus, how I'm building my knives is completely different than the way I was building it maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago. So right now they're one-off. I could not sit there and bandsaw 30 blades.
Mm-hmm.
No way.
They're very intricate builds. You do a bit. Do you have anything on you right now that you can hold up that we can take a look at? I mean, because you detail some of your work. Look at that. That's something that's pretty new, right?
Yeah, this is a tactician street fighter. And where is that? There it is.
There it is.
No, that's okay. And you can see that there's a line right in the middle of the blade that is actually.
Can you go wide on that, Jim? Thank you. Oh.
All right, there is a line in the middle of the blade, and I got that from a Japanese tanto. There we go.
So that's where the grinds come together, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And so that, and when I saw that on the Japanese tanto, I was like, that's actually really wicked, you know, because that transition line isn't all the way up front. It's like right down in the middle of the blade.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never found a reasoning why they did it that way, but it looked pretty cool. And so I kind of did it to this model here.
Okay, so that's not a hollow grind meeting a flat grind. That's just
it's a hollow meeting a hollow.
Hollow meeting a hollow. Oh, wow. Oh, cool. So you're also on the production end of things. You design knives for Hogue, or I should say, knives that you've designed are licensed by Hogue.
Yes.
And man, you're knocking it out of the park there too. I had the EX01, and wait. I think that's what. No, EX3. I can't remember model names if they're not like
polymer. The polymer.
Yes.
Grip. Yeah, that's EX03. Mm-hmm.
The button handle, and then you have the oh my gosh, why is it escaping me? The little one that's out with Hogue that's just killing it.
The microflip. The Deca.
The Deca. The microflip is cool. A guy I work with has the microflip. Awesome knife.
The Deca is very, very popular.
So you were asked perhaps to put that Warncliffe blade on. It comes in a Warncliffe and a clip point or drop point.
Right.
The Warncliffe looks kind of similar to, except for the kind of the upward sweep on the knife you just showed us, kind of has that similar vein. What value do you think there is in the kind of two plane cutting edge Warncliffe configuration?
Okay, so you being a martial artist, okay, you know that the Filipinos, when they have the shield of all their weapons, there are a lot of straight edge weapons. It's amazing how much straight edge weapons they have there. And so the Kali edge tactician practitioners know that a straight edge blade shape actually is more aggressive when you slash. Okay. Not the middle portion of the blade. So let's say if you're using a machete, not the middle portion, but the tip. The tip is very, very aggressive. So if you look at, let's say, a K bar, it has a big belly, and if you go across an object to slash it, that belly has a tendency to want to roll. Okay, not bite in. When you look at, let's say, a knife that has a hook blade, okay, like a talon, all right, and you hit that tip on an object, it has a tendency to want to dig in. It's overly aggressive. And so a Warncliffe is a very aggressive cutting edge when you're looking at the very, very tip of the blade. Okay, so when you look at the tactician here, let me see. Okay, you'll notice that from the tip back, it's very straight. Okay, and then the belly begins. Then you start having a curve. All right, and so if you're going to be slashing something and you want to use a tip, you want a straight edge. So on my tactician, about 1.5 inches from the tip back is straight. Then the belly begins, and the belly is like anything else. When you have a belly, you have a curved surface. You have more cutting area spread along that distance. So let's say if you took a ball and you straighten it out, that line is going to be very long, but when you look at the ball, it's very small. Okay, and it's just like the Persian swords that are very, very curved, or the Japanese swords that are very curved. You have more cutting surface in a shorter length because it's curved. Okay, versus a straight sword like a Chinese Tai Chi sword. All right, and when you move your arm in a slashing movement, it's not going straight, it's going in an arc. So somewhere on your blade, you should have an arc, which is around the belly area of the knife. And then when you straighten out the belly to a straight edge, you get a more aggressive cutting tip. And so that's why, like, for example, Michael Janis's Yojimbo is a straight edge. It's literally a straight edge from one point to another, and the point is going to the center line. Okay. And same with my tactician, the point is located in the center line of the blade. And if you look at a traditional straight edge, where's the tip? Very low, because basically it's just going straight out. Okay, so it's very low. So locating it in the center line of the blade is a lot easier for thrusting. And but I put a belly on my blade for pressure cuts, because it helps out. You have more leverage on pressure cuts when you have a belly on the blade, but then flattening it out for the tip.
Well, BJ Hill of Hilltop EDC said that some of his very favorite knives are yours. He just left a comment up there. He has a number of your Hogue models, and so major
Awesome.
props. Yeah, major props there. I saw that Ryan Spirited Blades loves the shape of that I'm sorry, what was the name of the one you keep holding up? That
the Tactician Street Fighter.
Yeah, can you hold that up again, please?
Yeah.
Just one more time.
Here's my camera.
Yeah, that does. I love that, because you have a straight towards the tip, you have a little bit of straight towards the finger choil area, and then you have that belly there. What is this? If you can hold up the pivot area close to the camera and show off that little gold. That's a little signature of yours.
Oh yeah. So my medallion will come in. I can't get this thing to focus.
That looks good. Wow.
Okay, my medallion will come in gold or silver, and I just kind of switched it up. You know, I mean, I've been using silver for like the past 4 years or so, and just like to switch things up once in a while.
Locking. What kind of locks do you tend to use? I know that you have one that you work on that's proprietary.
I have two of them. I have the E-lock and the Tetra lock that are my design, and then this knife uses the liner lock, and I'll use a liner lock as well.
Cool. Blade Banter David says, amazing knowledge on purpose and history. And David, Blade Banter just designed a push button locking knife that he's working on getting produced, and a lot of your knives for Hogue feature that sort of push button, and it's got a real it's an enjoyable experience to use that kind of knife, but also it has some strengths. What do you think the strengths of that push button lock are?
So the advantage of a push button type lock is when you press the button and close the blade, your finger's not in the path of the blade when you're closing it. You know, and so a liner lock, your finger's in the way of that blade. The locking mechanism is going in a straight line, okay, versus a liner lock, which is actually moving in an arc, okay, because the liner is bent all the way. It's a leaf spring that's moving in an arc, and so that plays in angles where a liner lock, if the blade wears, and let's say you have an 8 degrees on the blade, that's your angle. As the blade wears and it starts clocking upwards, that angle is constantly changing. Okay, and so is the angle of the locking mechanism that's engaging into the blade. And where you have a button lock, it doesn't do this. In 8 degrees, no matter what. You know, so your engagement point's always the same. You know,
so let me interrupt you. So you're saying that the engagement, the interface between the blade, tang, and the lock changes as it wears and moves in. That actual angle of interface changes.
Yeah, because if you look at a liner lock, okay, so you have a pivot pin, and the blade is, let's say, at 8 degrees. All right, and then it's actually a compound angle. All right. So you have a little bit of space on the top of your liner and the contacts on the bottom of your liner. Okay, so a liner lock, you have an L-shaped liner that kind of moves in and out. And so the part that engages at the bottom, that's the part that engages. The part that's on the top of the liner actually has space, because if you don't have space up there, your blade's gonna have a rocking action. It will rock, okay, while the liner is engaged.
Right.
And so as the blade wears, that gap gets smaller and smaller, so that angle changes, okay. As the liner engages deeper into the blade, the engagement of that angle changes. All right.
Okay, yeah.
And so with a button lock, it's different. The gap does close on the button lock, but the angle of, let's say, the 8-degree plane where it meets with the button does not change. And so from the tests that Hogue and myself have done, you know, Hogue has put about, I think, about 225 or 230 pounds on their button lock. But then what you do, you just can't go, oh, well, it just held 225 pounds. No, what you do is you multiply that by the length in inches from the pivot to the weight, and it falls around, it was like 3-something inches. It was like 750 pounds.
Wow.
But 750 pounds of inch pounds. So that's basically what you would have to do with your hands to basically break the knife, you know. And the liner locks, and I tested a lot of liner locks. A lot of them were just poorly made, poor material selection. They would crumble around maybe 50 pounds. The liner actually did crumble. It did not slip off the blade. It just crumbled like paper. It's actually pretty cool. Yeah.
So this is under a lot of tension from a weight that's hanging.
Yeah, I mean, 50 pounds wasn't much.
Jeez.
I mean, really, 50 pounds was not much. It was just, I would contribute that to poor material selection, not being very thick with material, and yeah, probably those two things. They could have probably beefed up the material a little bit thicker instead of doing, like, I don't know, a 40 or 50 thousandths liner. You know, they could have bumped it up to a 70 thousandths liner instead of using some, I don't know what kind of steel it was. They could have used a better steel or titanium, you know, to get the rigidity.
So you still make fixed blade knives, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So what do you get out of making a fixed blade that you don't get out of making a liner, not a liner, a folder, or vice versa? What do you get out of those, and do you design them for different purposes? Tell me about that.
I get a break out of my normal routine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reason why I will make a fixed blade, is because I just needed a break. I needed something different to do. I will make a fixed blade with a very specific purpose, you know. So before I make a fixed blade, it's usually two categories: combat or fighting. Okay, those are the two categories I've always stuck with from day one for the past 33 years.
Define those.
So combat, military, anything that's military based. Okay, soldier, boom, that's off on one side. Okay, and then fighter, self-defense, fighting. This is what you're gonna use for fighting with a knife. All right, and from there it goes into subcategories. In the military, it could be for a sniper, a grunt, you know, some kind of SF unit. It could be really focused for you know, busting yourself out of a mud hut, probing, just a utility knife, or more of a century removal knife. Okay. And on a fighter, I'll go, okay, fighter, sock up a call, or sorry, earth grip or hammer grip, or no, earth grip or hammer grip. Right. Point down, point up, or universal. Okay. Because you can't have a knife designed specifically for the way you grip a knife. Okay. And so then from there, I would say, okay, single edge, double edge, short or long. Is it more of a thrusting instrument, or is it more of a slashing instrument? Okay. And then that's where the designs start getting more specific. And then from there, I want it more Asian or Persian looking, or, so on and so forth.
Okay. So what do you think about the, Hilltop wants to know what inspired the EX F01 line?
The F01, the fixed blades. That was our first fixed blade. And I wanted a very solid design fixed blade that would be, every company wants that knife that could last a very long time, like the Striker, long time, the EX01, very long time. So I kept the fixed blade very, very simple, very practical, okay, for hard use and outdoors. It was mainly a military camping type knife. Okay, definitely I would not put it in the category of fighter. It was not a fighter. I think it was too big for a fighter, too heavy for a fighter. But for a military knife, a camping knife, backpacking knife, outdoors knife, utility knife, that was what it was designed for.
You mentioned you can design, and knives are often designed for how they're gripped. Immediately, I thought of a push dagger or a pical knife.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that? In the last, I don't know, 5 to 10 years, there's been a lot of pical knives kind of coming out. What do you think of that style knife? That's so people know that's intended to be gripped in reverse grip with the edge in, the point down and the edge in towards you.
Yeah, like an ice pick grip, earth grip, call.
But edge in is what I'm being specific
okay,
about.
So you want the edge in. Yeah, okay, so that would be to me, it's a very, very specific type of knife. It's a Silat knife. It's a Malaysian knife. And a friend of mine who is a Silat practitioner said it's actually an upper level Silat blade style for grappling. So it's a very, very specific niche area. And so if you think about grapplers, they're constantly pulling in because they're trying to take you down. They're grabbing limbs so they could control you to do a takedown or submission. And so if you have a blade that's facing you and you're pulling, basically you're pulling the guy, cutting him at the same time, that's what that is. And, I know that a lot of it's been coming out past like 5 or 7 years. So,
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize what it is. And honestly, I don't really know if they know how to utilize it properly, and so I don't make them because it's too much of a niche knife, and that's one thing I do not do is make really very specific niche knives because I don't want that tool to be limited for that particular application.
Yeah, you don't want it to be so limited that you can only effectively use it when you're fighting, in a car or something
exactly.
like that.
Or it's grappling.
Right.
In a grappling scenario or clinching scenario, I would rather have basically a double-edged knife. If that was the case, then just make it double-edged.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm always for going double-edged. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Same here. If I had a choice, I'll pick double-edged.
Have you ever made a double-edged folder?
The Phantom actually originally came as double-edged. Yes.
I'm gonna have to look that up. You don't. I take it you don't have a Phantom around you right now.
No. But that was the first knife. That was the knife that actually got me my first big contract. It was with Benchmade, the Sentinel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so back then Benchmade could not do my tri-grind, so they ground it like a regular dagger.
What's your tri-grind?
Tri-grind. So the Phantom is basically a chisel ground dagger. Okay. But on the back side, it's hollowed. So there's 3 grinds. So there is the top 2 grinds for the dagger. And when you flip the knife over, there's a big dished out hollow bevel in the back, and then a flat rim around the cutting edge. And so that was the tri-grind for the Phantom. Wickedly sharp. I mean, just absolutely wickedly sharp. You know,
We talked about that actually on the podcast when you came on. I remember that now. The whole idea of having, ooh, there it is.
that's the shadow.
Oh, that's the shadow.
Yeah, that's the shadow.
That's a beaut too. But the whole concept of having it be a chisel grind, first of all, makes it extra sharp. But then scooping out the one side and hollowing it,
Yeah.
So are the primary bevels on the dagger side? Are they also hollowed out? Or
Okay,
are those
so
flat?
that's a good question. So way back in the days, you remember a company called Blackjack?
Yeah.
And they made the Blackjack Dagger. Okay, so it was a tri-grind. It was dished out in the back. It was almost kind of chisel ground dagger. And if you ever play with one of those, if you try to cut perfectly straight, you could cut because the edge is actually on the curve of the dished out section. So you had to actually kind of cut like you're scooping ice cream in a kind of a C shape, you know. And so I made a couple of those in a fixed blade because I thought those daggers were really cool, and realized very quickly that they do not cut. They cut the crap out of my leather sheaths, though, you know, because the edges were at an angle. So every single time you stuck it in and out of your sheath, you're just basically cutting up your sheath.
Yeah.
So that's when I flattened out the back end, and it gave it a slight little rim around that groove, and yeah, it just became really wickedly sharp.
Well, Alan, any words as we close here today? I'm happy to see that you didn't change your plans and that you still are in Atlanta. What do you have coming up this year that we should be looking for?
I think, unfortunately, I canceled all my shows.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just, you know, it's not really the show. It's just I don't want to. If I cannot fly there, I don't want to. Yeah, if I can't drive there, I don't want to do it. You know.
Yep.
And so hopefully next year it's gonna be better. What I'm gonna do this year is, after I come back from this trip, each one of my locking mechanisms are gonna get a new model. So this year I started mixing all my models up. Okay, like some knives had the E-lock, some knives had a line lock, some knives had the Tetra lock. Now they're getting all mixed up and they're getting completely redesigned. Okay, they're becoming narrower. Same knife, just not as high. Like, if you notice, this is a very narrow knife. Okay, so everything's getting a diet. And so I did one to the M2. I literally took 200 thousandths off the height of the knife. It's very, very sleek, you know. So the knives are going to become much sleeker because I build tactical knives. The trend right now is to go to small knives. Okay, I don't build small knives. If I built small knives, I would have been a gent knife maker. Okay, I build tactical knives. And so one way to make the knives a little nicer in your pocket, so they're not pocket anchored, is to lighten it, choose lighter material, make it thinner, or make it narrower, or all of them. And that is what I'm doing. I'm actually making them narrower and thinner, so they're actually much more comfortable to carry in your pocket.
Awesome. Well, that's the sign of an innovator and someone who keeps moving forward. You know, you got to keep keeping your things relevant, good to your own vision, but also answering what the people are asking for. I think that's a great idea. Don't lose the tactical, just lose a little weight. Alan
Exactly.
Elishewitz, it's been a pleasure having you, sir. Thanks for coming and joining us.
Appreciate it. You guys have a good day.
Thanks, you too. Enjoy your class. All right,
Bye-bye.
Take care. So a dedicated tactical knife designer and maker, that gets me going. I love a tactical knife. And what do you know? We have another maker of tactical knives coming up. Blade Banter says that's David, his Orion Solaris, which is the push button knife I was just speaking of earlier, is up to 76% backed on Kickstarter. That is awesome. Keep on jamming, David. And I look forward to having a conversation with you about this process. Very, very cool. I know people have been, it's been getting a lot of nice, good drafting skills. Getting a lot of nice assessment from good people out there on the intranet. All right, we have Bastien Coves with us. Bastien has a little company you may know called Bastinelli Creations, Bastinelli Knives, and that cool wall behind you. I'm immediately distracted. Can you get out of the way? I'm just kidding.
No.
Look at that. So you show pictures of this on your Instagram feed with regularity, and I'm always just like, man, I gotta get me a wall just like that. How you doing, sir?
Good, and you?
Doing great. So were you planning on going to Blade Show this week?
Blade Show, where? In Atlanta?
Yeah. You know how they rescheduled it for August? Were you going to, and then they canceled it. It was going to be this weekend. Were you planning on going? I guess not, huh?
If this show should happen, I will be there, for sure.
Yeah.
I take the road, so it's not a big deal, but I think it's a safe decision for everybody to stay like this, but not really like safe because of the COVID, but particularly about the protocol. If you're not able to have only one client front of your table every time, to manage all this stuff, to carry mask all day long like this, everybody gonna turn crazy. You can put blinch on the table every 2 minutes. You're gonna destroy all the blade. It's not possible. So on this kind of condition, I think is the best decision they made. But really sad because it's an incredible moment for everybody, and for all the knife addiction is the show. So
yeah. So earlier today, I was looking at your feed on Instagram, and you were doing this really cool flow with a karambit.
My gymnastic.
Your gymnastics, yeah. Just doing your little karambit flow. Looks so cool. You were using the Icon and the Icon trainer. Tell me about the Icon, and then tell me about the Auto Icon.
So the Iconic trainer is a blade I designed from Microtech now, like close to 1.5 years now, for the first time. And yes, we decided to make one fixed blade with 2 finishes, stonewash and PVD. We made the Iconic Auto, though this one is really specific because you have really unique configuration and technicity. And we made a trainer edition of the fixed blade to be sure everybody, because it's a martial tool. If you want to train with, don't train with a live blade because it's going to be bad for the guy who work with you. But yes, trainer is really good to for all the people who are new about that, don't know nothing about karambits. If you are not really able to use that normally because it's not really natural to move with the blade in your hand and to play with the blade like a martial direction, trainer blade is like the best way to do that like safely,
So when you make a trainer, do you make it the same weight? I mean, obviously you make it the same dimensions and feel, but do you try and get it as close to the experience as possible?
We try to make something like really close, but it's really complicated because, to put away exactly the same weight of steel than you have put away for the grind, for everything, generally is not the same stuff. And we use the same material of handle, same material of sheath, but you can have like a little bit some difference in some blade, but really, who cares about this? All the people who tell you, it's not same weight, it's complicated. When you have a big difference of material, like aluminum or plastic and steel, I understand this kind of stuff. But when you have exactly like steel, G10, it's not exactly the same configuration. You have probably like 3 grams difference. Mm-hmm. Really, you don't care about this. In your hand, you just to play, you understand the dynamic, you use the flow. But for the rest, you don't need exactly the same weight. That don't make.
Yeah, absolutely. I could see where the same dimensions. You'd want the same reach, like you said, but yeah. Do you happen to have an Iconic Auto on you or close to your person?
No.
Okay. Drat. Okay. So I was describing this before when we were opening. If you look at it, if your finger's through the ring here, and the button is right here, and you just press it, and it pops out. And damn, if it's not the coolest looking thing.
I can show you just one thing. It's the first take on the Iconic.
Look at that wall, people. Jeez.
Nobody sees it, because the protocol of that is to make first the 3D printing. So just to show you the first 3D printing.
Oh, cool.
So you have the blade here. So the idea about this on this hole here, you grab here, you make a pressure on that, and directly when you make a pressure on that, the blade opening just like this. So that was the first step. After the drawing I made, Microtech made the 3D printing. We work a lot with 3D printing since 2 years now, because it's probably the best way and faster way to have something good in your hand, to feel the ergonomy, not the weight, because that we need a real prototype, but to understand what's going on and how going to be the blade in your hand. That is perfect. So they made this kind of beautiful 3D printing. So sorry, I that today with me to show you. That is the first step. Nobody see it before.
That is really cool. I think 3D printing is such a man. What a great advantage people like yourself have with those things, because I mean you can really get a feel for it, and also a feel for how you're going to have to make it, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I brought out one of my favorite knives, the large Dragotac, or big Dragotac, I think it's called. To me, this is like the perfect size. It's a 4.5-inch blade. It's this beautiful Wharncliffe. It feels so great in hand, and you get great manufacturers to make your work with your production stuff. So you work on stuff right there in your shop. You make custom versions of all your knives, and you can see those on Instagram. And then you have many of your designs, many of them produced by production companies. Tell us about that.
Yeah. At the beginning, the process is to make full custom blade. Okay, on the other room over there, that is the goal. We love to do that. And after that, we for some design, when the design have we feel a good way for some design, we decided to make a production. And for the production, we work with Lion Steel and Fox since close to 10 years now, and in Italy, and they manufacture some stuff for all the production for us. Yeah.
So do you have any, so I'm looking like, if you could stop right there, Jim, the knife on the rose there, I carry that. That's a diagnostic. I carry the production version of that on me on a daily basis. And incidentally, my wife runs with hers. She has one of those. Do you have, if you look at that, that is obviously a custom version right there because of the little skull.
Yeah, the skull. It's on this picture. It's a production edition, but Steel Flame, the Californian company, the jeweler, famous jeweler, decided to take one and change the aesthetic of the ring, of the finishing, and put a silver skull just here on the handle. That gave him like completely different kind of look. But at the beginning, yes, you have this kind of black edition, just like this, or silver edition. It's pretty good and pretty safe, to use, pretty easy to play with.
I don't have mine. I thought I had brought mine out, but I have a way that if I take that and I put it on my middle finger, but I orient it with the blade down here, and I can stabilize on top. You can have a little knife. It looks like you have a ring on your finger, but you can slap with it.
Yeah, it's just a game, every time I use the term gymnastic, because every time it's like this. It's not really natural to play with your finger and your hand with a blade, but when you are able to do that and play a little bit, you're able to just explain. If we think about self-defense, if we think about martial way, you are just like this. You wait something, you know what I mean? You are nothing bad. The body language is good. You can be like this. Nobody see what you have in your hand. You are just like this. You wait for something, and if something bad happens, you have just to switch. The blade is here, you know what I mean? So it's really great, So that's. But we are every blade I have is always sell for some good people. So
exactly. So yeah, the bad people use kitchen knives. Christoph wants to know any news about the chopper. Will it be produced by Fox?
Yeah, it's not produced by Fox, but the chopper will be available normally. We hope in 50 days, because on the chopper, it's the first time for us to do that like this. Half part of the process of the chopper will be made outside, and the other part will be made by us here by hand. So we're gonna make the shop, we're gonna assemble everything together, we're gonna manage all the. If you have to fix some stuff, some adjustments for the blade and the handle, we're gonna do that. Make some finishing, make the engraving and the sheath here, and yes, so it's a new kind of process. The steel is new too for us. We're gonna use M390 on this, so pretty good. And we have some blade coming soon like this with this kind of steel. So yes, it's normally this one will be the next one.
So how does it work with you? Do you have a bunch of, say, custom knives available, or do you make them as orders come in?
Long time ago, we decided to make different kind of process, like people contact us, want some order, and we made the order for them. But 2 years ago, I decided to stop because the waiting list was like more than 1 year and a half. And for me, it was no sense to explain to some clients, you can pay now, but you have your blade only in 1 year and a half. And that don't make any sense. So I decided to stop that and say all the production edition will be available now. When it's in stock, is available in 2 days. For all the mid-tech, when I use some production edition and I change some stuff, like I did on the Mako just here, you have the traditional Mako with the G10, but we change the age and we make a Tsukamaki on the handle, and we make this kind of stuff. That can be available a little bit faster too. But for all the custom, generally now is only for the show, only for Blade Show, Los Angeles Custom Knife Show, New York, all the show we have during all the year.
So did you make any for Blade Show that you didn't get to take that you want to show anyone right now?
Yeah. I hope the connection can be good, but can make a round with you in the shop.
Sure.
So if the connection is, we have plenty of stuff on the table here. That is a table we prepare for the show for some clients. So here we have the GI, the very, very thin and very light blade, a little bit bigger than the blade I made normally, with this kind of Tonto.
Yeah.
And full G10. So we have this kind of GI like this. We have in black handle, exactly the same profile, okay, with the hollow grind. And we have the carbon Deadpool just here.
Carbon Deadpool, so that's red and black.
Yeah, red and black. It's not
Cool.
black, but yeah, like this.
Oh
Yeah. So this kind of blade. So every time, like very low profile. That is the stuff we like to do. We have some mid-tech. We prepare some mid-tech. So we take the silence, the traditional silence, but we made a new finishing of the blade, and we make a Tsukamaki on this one.
That one is cool. That looks to me like an Itak or like some sort of a Filipino sword.
Big inspiration of the bolot and all this kind of stuff. You can feel that on the big one just here. We have this kind of profile too. So I love that. But on this one, the idea was to make some blade for the table. You can put that close to the fork and put that on your plate. It looked like a kitchen blade, really used, very elegant with a Tsukamaki. And like this, we put a product. We put lots of epoxy on it, so it resists of humidity and stuff. So it can be a good knife for the table. So we have this kind of stuff. We have a series here of the scene with satin custom and Tsukamaki. We have some prototype just coming and probably available at the end of the year. For the. So
this is a new one. Tell me about that. It looks like a tell me about it. Looks like a small dagger.
It's a small dagger. It's really, really simple design. Like really, it's like a new interpretation of something like the head of arrow.
Yeah.
So like I like to say, I think that is probably one of the first design made by the guy in the cave at the beginning. With some stone. I'm pretty sure he designed something close to that.
Mm-hmm.
But I designed to make my own interpretation with my own dynamic. Like a longer handle, but short. Yeah. To carry that every day. Yes, we make two different kind of side, plain edge and combo. Easy to use on different configuration. And it's very, very light. So full tank, M390, 3.5 millimeters. So it's really a blade to go for some application.
I'm sorry, you just moved across the room. Show us again your table.
Yeah,
show a view of it and let people know how they can get their hands on these. I mean, these are really beautiful. I love your designs. I love your production designs. But man, you add the what's it called? Tsukamaki?
The handle, the traditional Japanese wrapping with the menu. So we have this kind of very short blade like this. That is a really good blade, good size for people who live in the city, some people who want to go a little bit outside for some stuff. Like I already tell you on the other interview we make together. We have different profile of clients. Some people live in different states. Some people live in different city. Everybody is different. So because everybody is different and need a different kind of blade, we try to match that for everybody. So yes, we have this kind of. I just finished another interpretation of the Mako with the satin and custom age, and exactly the same Tsukamaki, but I changed the place of the menuki on it. And probably the light is better like this. So yes.
So the menuki, the little piece of jewelry, if you will, or the little piece of sculpture under the wrap, do you have those made for you? Do you design those also?
I designed them, and one jeweler in Europe make that for us. It's full bronze or full silver. So if you want to make a turn, just to explain you, because we talk about custom on this room, we made the wrapping, we make the kydex, and we make the engraving on this room. And we make all the finishing when we assemble probably every last step is made here, and all the here, that is a full custom area. So very simple, no CNC, nothing modern, but you have the drill press, you have the bandsaw, the grinder. We have 3 grinder, and we have over there the sandblast cabin over there, and all the heat treatment is over there. And here it's the area when we make a test on both and the rub test, you know.
Yeah. Oh man, that Bob dummy, it takes so much abuse. If anyone has ever seen Bastien with the Bob dummy, yeah, you'll just bury something right in his neck, walk away. I love it.
And the good thing, you see you just seen the GI, the small thin custom. I started to make some full custom 2 days ago, and that is the beginning of the process. So you know, I have the one not already done for the moment. You know, the design is like pretty ugly, but I finished this stuff, and here I have some ready to cut with the bandsaw. You know, so that's the process.
I would like you to take one of those blanks, if you don't mind, with the hole in it right there, and now show us the full custom.
Yeah.
And let's just look at how this is done by hand, like soup to nuts. This is pretty cool to see.
So I come back on the wall like this. I put the phone on the table. Yes. So yes, that is the beginning of the process. The piece of steel. So that is a D2. So we cut with the bandsaw. We cut the size we need. I make a drawing with a Sharpie of what I need. So I started first with the ring. The ring is the central point of the blade for the rest, for the dynamic. So yes, I make the ring, I make that, and after with the bandsaw, we're gonna cut every part of the blade. We're gonna make a very clean design with the grinder, and when it's done, I'm gonna start to make the grind on both sides, and make the heat treatments, and make the handle and everything to be sure. And at the end, yes, you have this profile.
That's incredible. So how easy do you find it to reproduce the same thing over and over? I mean, they look all uniform. They look, this is going to sound like an insult, but machine made in a way.
That is funny you say that, because all of them are different, not same size. They have lots of different kind of small detail, completely different, because I don't work with a traditional drawing. When I make one, I don't make a paper and I make exactly the same design every time. I don't like to do that. If you check on my table, I can have probably 10 GI, because that is a name for this blade to go inside. So 10 GI, and the 10 GI going to be probably a little bit different. The size of the blade will be different. The grind will be a little bit low on the other. The handle can be a little bit thicker. So I try to make the same blade, but to be sure each client who buy custom have a unique blade. That is really important for me. I don't work with CNC, except like I tell you before, except with the arrow. The small arrow tack I made to have something symmetrical, very clean. When I make 10 pieces like this, I need something perfect. So I use water jet for that. One company in New York make that for me. But for the rest, all full custom is by hand. So we do what.
It's cool. Hey, Jim, can you put up the last couple of comments? I saw one from Bearded Gear. And also someone just was mentioning Jock was talking about he loves the Pika. The Pika is the little half scissor, right?
The Piker is a half scissor. Is my first problem.
The Pika is the karambit then.
Pika is a karambit. So the Pika is this one. The Pika is a small karambit like this. My project with Doug Makeda, and my first project with Doug Makeda is the Piker, the small scalpel.
So what's the thinking behind that knife?
So really easy. Duke come with me like 5 or 6 years ago. He come with me and send me a very ugly picture of broken scissor, something like very small one. And he tell me, he say, what you think about this? And I say, okay, let me a few days and I'm going to think about it. So I decided to make a design of that. Because you don't know that, but Duke before was a nurse. He worked on the hospital. So I say, okay, it's a design for him. So I mix the idea he gave me about the broken scissor. I mix this kind of surgical tool at the same time, and I made my own interpretation of his idea. So, that is the beginning of the first story of this design, and I love the idea to think about if Doug send this idea about to 10 different knife maker, you're gonna have 10 different interpretation, 10 different design. So that is my identity for Doug Makeda, and I love this story about this because without this broken scissor, probably my mind will be stuck on something different. It will be stuck on different kind of way, and Doug give me like a very cool moment for this for that. And after we decided to make the interpretation of this one but curve, so I make this as the pica.
Nice.
And after we made another one. We make the spade, we make the mako, and all of them.
The spade has that broad blade. So before we wrap, there are a couple of blades on the wall behind you that I'd love if you could bring forward. One is the harpy.
Yeah, the harpy is here.
Yeah. This is cool. So was this inspired at all by Fred Perrin?
Fred Perrin, yeah. Fred Perrin is the owner of this concept since like close to 30 years now. Mm-hmm. But like he liked to tell to everybody, he's not the guy who creates the ring and the blade. Some stuff was already made before him. But he used this concept and makes this concept popular, and he changed this concept a lot. And because he used that, that is completely. They have a very strong link between Fred Perrin and this kind of identity of blade. So ring, short handle, and short blade. So the concept of that at the beginning is not a weapon, is a tool. Because imagine you need to use a blade during like 10 minutes, 30 minutes. You have to cut lots of stuff, but every time you have to put back the blade in the sheath because you need your hand. You need your two hands. So to have your two hand free, Fred creates this concept like this. You can grab everything you want. You can make a knot. You can make everything you want with this blade. You can cut and play with your fingers. The blade don't have to be on your mouth or like this, to do what you have to do every time. So that is pretty good. It's for that I love this concept. And after, if you put a defense application, a protection application, the good thing about this, before to grab this blade in your hand, you have to go here. You know what I mean? So that is pretty good. Yes, and the only stuff we changed that is American edition, because the European edition, the ring is a little bit smaller. I have to make a little bit bigger ring for American hand.
That's funny. Milk-fed hands. Okay, so as we sign out, I want you to tell people how they can get a hold of your knives, especially the customs. Can you just grab the Reaper tack? I guess the one with the red handle. Edwin wants to see that. Look at that thing. Japanese kama.
Yeah. So that is we mix the kama with the Reaper, the garden tool, because that is the identity of our company. So yes, it was really fun to do that. Really strange for me to sell a lot of this tool because it's like, a lot of people buy that. But yeah, really interesting. And same way, it's a big tool, but we try to keep the same identity. So very thin, 3 millimeter thickness, very light, enough space to put two hands. If you have to use that like a Marshall application, possibility to put your hand a little bit on the top. If you that.
So is there any other application than Marshall for that thing?
Yeah, garden. When you have some bad mushroom.
Oh yeah. Those bad mushrooms. All right. Well, thank you for that. Let people know how they can get a hold of you. Best way to get a hold of you. They want to order something or get something that you've made.
Email us for the moment is the best way. Bastinelli@gmail.com. I hope soon I'm gonna have some shop online. For the moment, it's not open. But if you want to check everything we made, you can go on Instagram, on Bastinelli Knife, or Facebook, and email us. Bastinelli@gmail.com is the best way.
Okay, great. Well, Bastien, Coves, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. And thanks for those gorgeous knives on the wall behind you. I think even if we're not as tactical, we all love what you're doing.
Every dream. We have, so it's good.
All right, man. Great to see you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Take care. There he goes, ladies and gentlemen, Bastien Coves. I love those knives. It's, just like that sickle comma weapon thing tool. It's graceful and beautiful, but also with menace. I love that combination. A little bit of menace. So there you have it. Thank you again, Bastien, and thanks for, everybody for commenting and asking about the knives. It's great to be prompted to look at something different. My eyes were going to different places, and Edwin asked for the Reaper tack, and boom, I got to see one of those up close. I love the wrap and all that. So we are at the 2 o'clock hour. That means now we are going to speak with David C. Andersen. Everyone knows David C. Andersen. Hello, David. Great to have you, sir.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me again.
It's my pleasure. You're an alum of the show. It's always great to have you.
It's always great to be here.
So people know you for your online presence on behalf of Knife Center, but I wanted to have you on to talk about Nordsmith. This is your label. This is hey, both.
Dual signage here behind me, of course.
Yeah, yes. Man, nicely done. So we've spoken with a couple of tactical knife makers today, and this is a nice shift into different uses. Your knives, Nordsmith, your Nordsmith knives are more for the outdoor, more for the multi-purpose use. You have the skipjack. My favorite is the canteen, and then what's that real small? The smaller one you have. It almost looks like a bird and trout.
The lapwing. You've expressed some admiration for that one before. Thank you very much for that as well.
You're welcome. I'm sorry I forgot the name of it, but show us the canteen knife first, and tell us about the Nordsmith line and what you're going for with these knives.
So the Nordsmith line, obviously, I'm much more well known today for my Knife Center, my day gig. We've been making some splashes there with our YouTube channel, especially, and I'm really thrilled with that. Especially this past week, we were kind of preparing dual tracks on whether the Blade Show was going to be canceled or whether it was going to be still going on. Of course, it did get canceled, and this entire last week. Every day we've been posting interview videos on the YouTube channel. So we basically did virtual booth visits with all the people we would have seen at Blade Show, going over new products. And we were going to make it a week, but we have too many videos. It's going to spill into next week. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, darn. We were just opening up the show, I was talking about, how the fact that Blade Show was going to be this weekend and how after Blade Show and SHOT Show, I spend countless hours on YouTube watching all of the recap videos from not only from people like yourself and Blade HQ, but from all of my favorite YouTube reviewers who also go. Sure. And it's a great virtual way to make it there. This year I was going to try and make it there. Actually, that didn't happen. So I'm happy to see that you guys and that Knife Center has gone around and done those virtual visits, because that's the thing I look forward to every year.
Yeah, I mean, me too. Before I was going to Blade Show, I was exactly the same way. I'm scouring everything I can to what's the new stuff. I'm a knife junkie too,
Yeah.
So as I've been saying in a lot of the videos, we're Blade Show may have been canceled, but we're bringing the celebration to you guys. So it's cool to have been a part of. Anyway,
so let's bring Nordsmith knives to our viewers. What do you got?
So the Nordsmith line started before my time at the Knife Center. So like I said, even though I'm more known for it now, Nordsmith has been going on since 2016 was when I incorporated my LLC for that, but have been working on it since 2015 with the launch. And there are designs I came up with, starting with the canteen knife, which I will show first here, because it was a knife that did something that I couldn't find anywhere on the market, and I still don't think anyone does it quite as well as what I wanted to see, and that is a camp knife that functions well as a chef knife as well. And I'll go ahead and hold it up here. And I actually, right now, these have been out of stock for a long time, actually, because of COVID and everything. Production schedules have been thrown way off. I actually have 2 in stock right now, only 2 on my website, nordsmithknives.com, in 3V right now, which is also especially more rare for this knife. Sorry. Go ahead. Okay. All right. I'll keep going. So yeah, I mean, it's a camp knife first and foremost. Like that, it had to do all those camp knife things: carving wood, splitting wood, batoning, a little bit of light chopping. Some of the smaller branches. It's not a heavy chopper, obviously. And I could find plenty of knives that did that, but I could never find a knife that did that, and then could then do this on a cutting board, do that kind of rocking cut right there, which it's very hard to do. It's very hard to combine those two. And I went through a lot of prototyping with this design. And the blade itself was actually pretty easy. The hardest part was, coming up with a decent handle for this. Sorry, my backlight here went off. Make sure I get some good light on there.
Yeah.
So the blade, I'm a big Nesmuk fan. So it's obviously a big kind of Nesmuk inspired blade shape, kind of a cross between a Nesmuk and a Santoku in a way, is the way I like to describe it. And the trick was coming up with a handle that kind of unlocked the versatility that is baked into this blade shape. You needed to have something that could take advantage of everything the blade could do. My very first prototype of this was actually out of an old hickory cleaver, and just had a straight handle on it. And it worked, but there was more to it than that. So what I came up with was this design, and there's a few things that it lets you do. Obviously, in your standard grip, the edge is kind of trailing a little bit. It's not, the point is not above the spine line of the spine so much, but it is kind of upswept a little bit. So it's great for long slicing. It's got that kind of sweep to the edge. It's almost all continuous belly. So I like to say, whether you're carving wood or carving turkey, that's a good edge profile. The handle itself kicks up a little bit. Now the trick, this dimension right here, the spine to the bottom of the heel of the blade, was the hardest part to get right, because you want to have enough clearance to do that rocking cut. But the farther away this gets from the center line, the more awkward it gets to do the carving cuts. And again, that's where the handle shape comes in. Because of the way it sweeps up here just a little bit, there's just enough when you combine that slight angle here with that continuous belly, it gives you just enough. I like to choke back here, actually behind the thumb scallops a little bit. It gives you just enough clearance to do those types of cuts effectively. And once I had that, I knew it was unlocked. That was the biggest thing.
So is this the pinnacle of your knife design so far, would you say? Did this present the most problems that you solved?
I'd say it's certainly my signature design. I've been thrilled to have actually appear on the cover of Knives Illustrated with it. I've got my my nice display up here. When I want to kind of get the warm fuzzies, I can take a look at that. I think if I am ever remembered for a particular knife design, it'll probably be this one.
Show me the close up of the pommel area. I like the finger area, and I mean
yes,
the pinky area into the yeah.
So this was another part of taking advantage of the shape of the blade overall. Obviously, with the Nesmuk shape, you get, because of that hump, you get a little bit more weight out here near the tip, and that is going to help with some of the lighter chopping tasks. And I say lighter chopping because this is only an 1/8 inch thick. This is not designed to be a heavy chopper. It's designed to kind of be a jack of all trades type of design. So we wanted to keep it thin enough where, like you said, you could do those kitchen things. But in order to get a little bit more meat behind the swing, so to speak, that's where this tail end of the handle comes in. And there's a few things going on. First, there is another shift in angle right there. It kind of kicks down, as well as this swell right here. And when taken in combination like that, now I told you kind of when you're holding it like so, the edge is kind of trailing a little bit, kind of sweeps up. When you go and choke back on it, it brings the whole knife down. You'll notice I didn't move my hand, the position of my hand there at all. The whole knife kind of moves within that grip. So the way I like to do it, I'll have 3 fingers in front of the swell and 1 on the back. You've got that flare right there to hold on to it, and your edge is brought down.
And that angle accelerates the chopping ability, right?
Yeah, what you get, you're able to take advantage of that little bit of extra weight, and not so it doesn't do as much for the acceleration. It does a little bit, you're right, but it changes the angle of the blade, of the edge itself, into what you're hitting.
Right.
Because when you're holding it like so, like I said, you're slicing up in a way. When you're like that, it squares up that sweet spot, so it's going to be more of a 90-degree hit to what you're chopping. So
right.
It's very complementary. That shape works perfectly in concert with the shape up here. Like, it was a very carefully drawn out set of dimensions so that it lined up perfectly like that. And I'm really thrilled with the way it came out. The whole knife is very balanced overall. It's a 5.5-inch blade or thereabouts, but it's a very neutral balance when you hold it like so. Yeah, it does everything. It does everything I wanted it to do.
So when you hold that, when you were holding it right up at the ricasso, like in a carving sort of, So when I look at this knife, I think it looks like it has a full belly, like belly from stem to stern. Excuse me.
Pretty much.
But excuse me. But when you hold it in your grip like that, that first bit of the curve closest to your finger seems to act like a straight. It looks like, you know what I mean?
Very
Like
gentle.
you get the same utility as if that were straight in that grip, but in the other grip, when you kind of want that full belly, you get the full belly. That's kind of
it is. Yeah, there is just a hint of it back here. It's almost flat. You know, I didn't want it to be perfectly flat, but it's close. But you want that for the feather sticks, the push cuts right there, where you're doing that type of utility work. And it came together phenomenally. Most folks know that I partner with LT Wright to do the production on these blades for me. I do all my prototyping, all my testing in my own shop here, but I use LT for the stuff that you're actually going to be able to purchase from me. And they knock it out of the park. They love it. I love it. I couldn't be happier with the way it's come out.
Yeah.
And I've got some cool plans for this in the future. Like I said, I've got 2 in stock right now. I may have some special projects involving this coming out real soon. You might see those on the Nordhaven, which is my Facebook group. It's a private group, but just go on there and click join, and I'll approve you on there. But future runs of this knife, I've got some cool stuff planned. Got a new sheath design that's going to be coming out soon for it.
That's what I was going to ask you next. Tell us about the sheath A, and then also, what's that handle material? Is that micarta you got right there?
So this one's just a natural micarta with an OD green liner.
Nice.
Actually, there we go. I knew something was missing from this picture. So that's one of the 3 standard colors. I've got that, and I'll show you the. I've got green with yellow. Doesn't show up great. This is on my Pilgrim LT, which I'll get to in a moment, and then black with a toxic green liner.
Oh, nice.
So those are the standard colors, but some one-offs and interesting stuff gets posted up in the Nordhaven. We're not set up for custom orders very well. It's a bit hard to manage that, given all my differing responsibilities. So I keep it to the 3 standards. It gives you a good cross section of different types of vibes that people might be into. And then when we get a chance to do something a little special, you'll find it in that Facebook group.
Cool. So leather sheaths?
Yeah, typically a leather sheath, and I don't have the current canteen sheath here in front of me, so I'll show you the Pilgrim sheath. This is mine that's been nice and broken in. Currently, these canteen knives come with a very similar sheath. They're made by JRE Industries, a guy named Spen Stelter out of Illinois. Fantastic sheath maker and even better human being. Black leather, green thread goes with all the standard colors, and you get a nice dangler loop there, so it can ride lower if you're wearing like a long winter coat or a hiking pack. That's going to hang down and out of the way of those, so you can access it better. Got a fire steel loop on the side that fits a 3/8-inch diameter fire steel. And of course, if you don't want to use the dangler, you've got a very wide belt loop here. And you can either just fold the dangler under and run it through, or if you really want to remove that, there's a Chicago screw there you can just take out, and you've still got that D-ring attached right there.
Nice.
But something cool coming in the future. We're coming up with a new custom sheath design for the canteen knife specifically that I'm really excited about. It's not quite ready yet, so I don't have I've got some real rough prototypes over here to show you, but I don't want to spill the beans just yet.
What's the? Can you spill the beans on the concept, or no? That would be spilling the beans, I guess.
One of the things, it's responding to some folks who had experienced some, maybe not the best retention they would have liked on the original sheath. I personally never had a problem with mine, but I did start hearing a little more feedback. So there's going to be a design incorporating a snap loop on the new sheath, but I don't like the way most sheaths use a snap loop. They're very easy to snag when you're walking through the woods and open up. You don't want that. So Spen and I think we've got something really cool that's going to give you that retention, give you that snap capability, but it's going to be very secure. You're not going to, there's pretty much no chance of snagging it on a branch when you're walking through the woods the way we've got it set up right now.
Cool. Well, Jock was wondering, do you have a smaller bird and trout knife? And maybe you can show off the other models before we
do. So the one model I don't have in stock right now is the lapwing. But that is sort of this was the third release. This one's my personal one, so you may see a little bit beat up. Got my nice first stamp on there. So this was designed as the perfect complement to your canteen knife. If the canteen knife is your camping / chef knife, this is your bird and trout / paring knife to go with it. And I even have them set up in a Kydex piggyback rig for the last couple of years that I take all over the place.
I love this design. I know I go on about it, but I really like that design.
Please keep going on about it.
Okay.
I don't mind. And it's so much more than just second fiddle to the canteen knife. It's a great everyday carry. Of course it is very nice in the kitchen. We've got a 3/32 with a full height convex and secondary edge on there. AEBL steel, which is kind of my base steel that I've been using for the last several years. Fantastic steel. Some people kind of give it a bad rap because they look at the specs on the paper and think it's no good. Go out and use it. That's all I have to say. It's definitely a steel that outperforms its formula, so to speak. But it works really well. You've got that nice slender shape. Again, we've got a little bit of a kick down to this particular handle, so it's going to bring the edge down as opposed to up, like on the canteen knife. That's going to help the point or the tip point very naturally, and it just works well, whether you're carving wood, opening packages day to day. I've got a friend, Ruck Rabbit Outdoors. You might be able to find him on Instagram. He does guided hiking trips, and the two edged tools he takes with him on every trip is the lapwing and a tomahawk, a custom tomahawk, and that's it.
So Ruck Rabbit, check that out.
Yeah, Ruck Rabbit Outdoors, good guy named Chad. Check him out.
So this,
but yeah, he that's all he needs when he heads out. He can split wood, he can carve, he can do game processing. My friend Scott Gossman, another fantastic knife maker, he's bought several of my knives actually, so I'm very flattered by that. Said he was able to skin a deer with this knife faster than he's done with any knife in his life. I mean, it does everything you need a small knife to do, and yeah.
See, you're talking about real usage there, and I'm thinking that would be a great round town in a pocket leather pocket sheath, man. I have a friend who has gotten a custom leather pocket sheath with an ulti clip on it. Carries one of these every day as well. Yeah. One of our viewers, Lavender Pants, I think he wanted to come on for a second to ask you a question. Is that right, Jim?
Sure.
Is that what I just read? But as that's happening, any other models? How much is it, David?
So right now, this is going to change. Right now, the lapwing started at 180. Newer runs of this knife, again, we're mixing things up a little bit. We're going to see a materials change. It's going to go a little more premium. I like the AEBL, but people have been asking for some different things. So we're expanding a little bit. And one thing now, especially with the whole COVID thing, I've always been big on American. I like to buy American. AEBL steel is fantastic, and I don't feel guilty for offering it whatsoever, but it is a Swedish steel. So we're switching to an American product, which it's going to perform differently than AEBL. It targets sort of a different baseline of performance, but I'm really excited to kind of have an all-American package there.
Okay, well, David, tell people where they can go to find these knives and to buy them. And wait, what's this say?
Nordsmithknives.com. Am I running out of time here?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
kind of on a tight 20-minute cycle, but let's see.
If I can show you one thing for 30 seconds here.
Please do.
You're talking about running around in a pocket sheath. I've got my skipjack design, which comes with a nice pocket sheath right there. I have a few of these in stock right now. I only have one more of these left. This is a marigold jigged corncob bone.
That is super classy. I love jig bone.
With a nice black liner on there. I think that's really cool. That one's about $185, I think, right now. You can find all of that stuff at my website right there.
Okay, so David C. Andersen of Nordsmith Knives, thank you. And I also want to just reiterate, these are American-made knives made by a little outfit you may have heard of called LT Wright, who makes outstandingly insane and beautiful outdoor fixed blades. Lindy Lou wants to know how much the skipjacks are.
They start at $165 for Micarta versions.
$165 for Micarta. Well, David C. Andersen, thank you so much for coming on and representing Nordsmith Knives and telling us a little bit more about your brand. It's compelling, and I like the swag you've got coming out too.
Oh yeah. You can find a link on my website there. You can get shirts, mugs, hoodies, or go to fellowmakers.com. That's where it'll actually take you to, where you can purchase those.
Awesome. All righty, sir. I thank you, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. You too, my friend.
Oh, always a pleasure. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. So now I want to be an outdoorsman. I mean, that happens every time I talk to David, because I especially the canteen knife, that big beautiful Nesmuk Santoku mashup. Beautiful knife. When I spoke with him, when I spoke with David on either the last town hall or maybe it was the podcast, I mentioned that with the name Nordsmith, and I know he's got a proud, I believe Norwegian. Oh God, forgive me if you're Danish or something else, but a proud, let's just say Viking heritage. I think he needs to make an outdoor sax. I think he needs to make a sax design because I want a Nordsmith sax. All right. So anyway, thank you very much, David C. Andersen. Always a pleasure to have you on. And next we have someone else, another alum of the show and another much beloved person who has a much beloved knife company. Marianne, how are you?
How you doing, Bob? Glad to be an old timer now.
Yeah. Well, it's great to have you. So, as you know, this was the weekend of the rescheduled Blade Show, which got canceled. What is Three Rivers Manufacturing? How do they utilize these shows? Do you go to Blade?
Yes, we've been to Blade probably 20 times because we also are Halpern Titanium that does OEM work. So we've been going there. My first one, I think, was 1997. This year, it really wasn't a problem because we have so many knives that we can't make them fast enough. So it was almost like, oh, good, we don't have another show. Right now, we get a good review. It's, oh, no, not another one. People say that's a great place to be, but it's extreme challenge because customers, they do want our knives. They want our Atom. Yeah. They're going to want our Neutron, that Neutron 2. They're going to want our Shadow. And everyone has a suggestion how we could just make more. That's my favorite. Knife maker. That's my favorite. Why don't you just make more? So that's usually our favorite question when someone says, why don't you just, and fill in any blank.
All right, hang on. Before we continue, would you mind, and this is the TV nerd in me, just tilting your camera a little bit so you fill up the screen just a little bit.
Oh, I can just move me.
Yeah.
Am I good? Better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. I haven't stepped up from the last time. I did just start a YouTube channel.
Oh, cool.
But the YouTube channel has 100 subscribers and 2 3-second videos. I just wanted to see that I could do it, but I'm definitely going to be getting cameras and tripods. But this is a rigging of my iPhone on top of a guitar stand, and I'm sitting on a pillow. So
yeah.
Probably time to kick it up a little bit. But
like everything that happens outside of here, you don't want to see.
Nah.
So people often say to you, that's a great problem to have. You have these knives that everyone wants, and you can't make them fast enough.
Yes, that's what we hear.
And what do you say when people say, hey, that's a great problem to have?
I just say, yeah, you're right. It's true. But in reality, it's very complicated. It's very challenging. We've been in manufacturing for a long time, and there's a lot of headaches that happen. We were shut down for 8 weeks with the virus. We had a part crew working, but no knives were being made. We had grinder down the entire month of January. We have a new order in for burger grinders that we'll have in December, the end of the year, a brand new set of burger grinders.
Nice.
So it is hard. You're trying to plan. You're dealing with different employees. Some people, have issues. They can't come to work. We have you have to order screws 14 weeks ahead. Steel might be 8 weeks. So part of my job is to coordinate so everything lands in the same place, that the blades start, and 10 weeks later there's a knife, because all the parts came together.
You're like a conductor.
Yeah, kind of. A little ballet along with social media and YouTube and a few other things.
So as you can see,
busy.
A lot of people are chiming in saying hi, and also people saying they're looking forward to the Shadow. Tell everyone about the Shadow.
Okay, the Shadow was named after my dog, who's almost 17. Mo is with me every minute. So I looked at him one day and I said, "What are you, my shadow?" And that would be a great name for a knife. So that's how the Shadow came. We've done flippers, we've done frame locks, we've done liner locks. And Les said, let's do the axis lock, because we've always respected Benchmade and Les the Axis, and we knew that the patent, he let that expire. So we said that would be good, and it also would take care of all our lefties that say, "Why don't you care about the 10%ers?" So we're taking care of that. My Facebook group is actually going to have a contest for five lefties to send a video to prove that they're lefty. I already have had a couple. Luca, you're good. We have one guy named Don Shadow, so he's on the list automatically. So we're waiting to get some more of those videos, and there's no cheating. I would say handwriting's pretty hard. Maybe throwing a baseball, a few things that you can't just. So we'll have a contest and get 5 people to get on that list. So we're always kind of having fun with it. I also promise slicey dicey.
I take it knife manipulation in the left hand does not count, because we can all do that, right?
Right. Absolutely. So it's totally ambidextrous. I don't even have one here because we don't have a finished one. On Instagram, you'd see some pictures, the Facebook group, a few more. But it's going to be a winner. I know that for sure. We were going to call the lock nothing. Just don't call it anything. It's just a lock.
A lock.
And people would say, "What kind of lock?" And we'd say, well, it's like the axis lock. And so we didn't want to call it that. So then we said, well, we'll call it the river lock. Somebody helped us on the Facebook group, and then people will say, "Well, what's the river lock?" And we'll say it's like the axis lock. So it doesn't really matter what we call it, but we got our own springs made out of a spring company in Connecticut, and we're using something that's called rocket wire. I have no idea what makes it rocket wire, but it sounded cool, so we're going to use that. We had a custom bin. Les went back and forth with the guy that owns the company. Great company. Imagine somebody just makes springs. Yeah, it's amazing the businesses that are around. They made it for Watt. There were a lot of clocks and watchmakers in the area in Connecticut.
Ryan wants to know if you're selling any knives for the show today.
I am not. I said to Bob, I don't have any knives to sell. Is that okay? Can I just talk about some of our new products? And he said, yeah, that's okay. I really don't have anything. I'm sitting here with I'm not really good at this, with my Neutron.
Oh, yeah.
When one of my customers anodizes these clips, and then my other customer makes these custom awesome wooden. I think I've started a new business for him. He just bought new machinery. He's a full-time student, but he spends a lot of time making awesome scales. So that's what I have. And I've had this for about 2 years since we started, and I can carry anything, obviously, and I still go back to my Neutron. But in light of that, customers said, "Why don't you make thicker scales? Why don't you make new scales? Why don't you love the Neutron? Why don't you have a deep pocket carry clip?" So there was no way we could do it on this particular model. If we did a deep pocket clip, it goes over a little bit over the edge. We purposely put those screw holes very close to the top, so this really isn't very much out of your pocket. So we couldn't do that. And then we played around with trying to make scales, doing some contour, but then we're tied into the screws. Then you have to come down and be at the same height as these screws because we sell scales. All of these things get more complicated because you sell scales. So if you do something different, it makes all the other scales null and void, and that does not make our customers happy. So what we did is we have Neutron 2. Started out, we were going to call it New, N-E-W, Tron. But then if you're talking about the Neutron, well, which one do you mean? So we're very creative. We're calling it Neutron 2. And it's going to have deep pocketed scales, so we can do the same kind of options like the Atom. And we also changed the clip pattern, the hole pattern, so it'll be a little bit lower.
Hold it up a little bit higher.
I'm sorry. This is still the old one. The clips are going to be, the holes will be a little bit lower, so we can deal with that deep pocket carry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same hole pattern, just drop down, so you can still use this clip. We're going to offer them with the deep pocket, but you'll be able to buy the original one there.
Right.
Unfortunately, the scales are not going to be able to swap because it's not the same liner.
Different.
So it's going to be different. But other than that, so we got all kinds of stuff. We got a new button lock coming out. We were going to call it the Ember because I saw that name of a restaurant in New York. I liked the name. Then I heard some other knife company, I think Rick Hinder had something called the Ember. So we need a new name for that. Anybody have any ideas? We have the best Facebook group on the planet, about 2,000 members. What else we got? YouTube, new websites coming up in about 2 weeks. We should be able to finalize that. It's going to have easy navigation, lots of pictures, very customer oriented. We are even using some customer pictures, customer videos using our knives, customer modifications. We're kind of like the anti-knife company that encourages modifications, encourages disassembly so you can anodize your spacers. And it's been a lot of fun interacting with a lot of guys. But it's difficult because the more people, and to try to answer every email, every text, every message, every comment on Instagram, starts to get to be a challenge. But we're going to keep doing it.
Yeah, well, I think it's a balancing act for a company like yourself to be nimble enough to react to customer feedback, but you can't be that nimble that you're reacting to every reaction to your work.
Right.
So you got to kind of, I would imagine there's a little bit of math involved. Well, 50% of the comments we're getting are on this clip, so I guess we should give them their deep carry clip. Where are they going with the knife? No, just kidding.
Well, part of it too is the people that want something are more vocal. So there might be 20% of the people that want deep pocket carry, but every deep pocket carry person lets me know that they want one. The same with DLC. Way back when we did Neutrons last year, and we had a waiting list, which we're never doing again. 10% of the people wanted DLC. Now everyone wants DLC. And it doesn't mean, I don't know what percentage wants DLC, but everyone that wants it lets us know. And when can I get one? And why can't I get one? Where can I get one? Why don't you make more?
Make them
good questions like that. Make them faster. One last thing, and I know I'm running out of time here. We just started. I like to keep getting ourselves in deeper. Every time we start to relax, we have to get a little bit deeper. So we're just starting a new, what we're calling it a brick and mortar dealer program. And it's meant to actually be only about 10 a month. We're looking for 5 companies that have an actual store so people can walk in, hold them, play with them, and see what the story is all about. And right now we have River's Edge Cutlery and Way of Knife, EDC Gearhouse are 2, and neither one has gotten any yet. This is going to be announced on our website, and until it's announced on our website, we're not going to actually ship any to either of those.
Where are those outfits located? Anywhere near me?
I knew you were going to. One is, come on, Jesse, come in there. One's in Michigan. Lavender Pants, help me out. One is in Michigan, and I'm trying to remember where Way of Life is. Ben, are you out there? I knew you were going to ask me that question. Who's got that? Who's got that answer for me? I don't know. I don't know. It's close. It might be Ohio. I don't know. They're fairly close. That was one of the thoughts. I wasn't sure I wanted to do that, but it doesn't really matter because River's Edge said people come 2 hours away to go to their shop. So I guess we have.
I believe it. If I wanted to go to a knife store, I would have to drive an hour and a half. At 4 a.m. when no one's on the road to get there.
Right. Massachusetts, I would doubt there are any left knife stores.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. We keep adding knife fans from Massachusetts. I think one by one they come out of the closet and admit that they like knives and they carry knives. But I don't think there's any knife stores in Massachusetts. Help me out if there are. I don't know if there are any. Connecticut. Hey, Columbus, Ohio. Thank you.
Lavender Pants says Columbus, Ohio, 5 minutes.
Ohio. Well, somebody's in Michigan then. I don't know.
Might not be Columbus for long.
Thanks, Jesse. I know. I'm not sure what the new name is going to be. I don't know. River's Edge, Ohio. I'm not sure.
So you got the Shadow coming out, and that's the bar lock kind of thing. And let me ask you a quick question. You said you were very specific about we found great spring makers and they only make springs. What is that the main challenge with the dam bar lock, with the able lock, with the axis lock, sliding bar lock? Is it the Omega springs? And do they have to be Omega? Can't you just use a different kind of spring?
I don't even know what ours are. They're just less, it's take a look, obviously look at other axis locks or whatever other people call them and studied it and just came up with a pattern that would work for us. We worked with Templeman in Connecticut, which had worked with them before. And our last knife company, Phantom Knives, and they're a great company, and they went back and forth and played around with it and found one that worked. So it wasn't really the most complicated, I say. I don't believe it was the most complicated part. And we haven't, we don't have one made, finished. So I'll let you know. Have it back in about a month. I'll let you know.
Okay. Well, on your Instagram feed, you had a pink Atom, the bubblegum version. You said, I think we're going to have to make more of those. Were those popular? I know a lot of people bristle at pink knives. Right.
Well, we put things up on our Facebook group, get a lot of great feedback. And this is a great story. This is what this group is about. So if anyone wants to join, this is the kind of person we're looking for. We put them up in the group. We put 5 with pink, and I just like making them. And I used to love bazooka gum. So it's bubblegum pink. You can just call it pink if you want. That's fine too. But we put 5 up DLC and let everybody have a chance to win one. Win means you get to buy it. I never knew that in a knife until a knife war, that win means you get to buy it. So 5 people won one. And one of the guys bought one, and he knew that someone else in the group had a relative who was still suffering from breast cancer, and he actually sold it to him at cost, the same cost. And that happens over and over in the group, so it's very cool. We're probably not going to offer it as a knife option, but I would say we're going to offer more scales. We have over 30 scales now, different options, which has become another phenomenon we never really expected. But now with the Neutron 2, we'll be able to create the same phenomenon and have probably a total of 100 different skills for people to say, why don't you have any, fill in a blank. So we're trying, and we're hoping some people can kind of keep hanging in with us with the extreme challenges to try to keep everything updated and still try to make some money along the way.
Yeah. Well, that would be nice.
Yeah, you can't make 100 pink and 20 liked them, and then, well, that took care of a lot of money. So we have to be a little bit careful of new colors.
Got 2 comments. Lavender Pants and Kiefer mentioned that Way of Knife is in Traverse City, Michigan.
Thank you. Thank you. I knew it was Michigan, but I got them back. I got my states backwards. Jesse used to live. He just moved to Ohio. Came from Kentucky. This is hard keeping. And Lavender Pants, I have to know, is Jesse Russell, and then Kiefer I know too, but his name I don't know. We got people that make up names in Facebook, and then we can't remember what their name is when they order something. So it's fun, but it's a little challenge to keep track of everything.
Okay, so as we start to wrap, let me ask you this. It seems like a difficult knife to get. You don't just go to your favorite purveyor online and find them. They are gone as soon as they come out. So what is the best way for people who do not have TRM knives but would like to get into your knives to find them and get them?
Bob, did you think this was a good last 1 minute answer question?
Take as long as you need.
We have tried every method. We have tried a waiting list, and at the time we had 300 knives and 20 options. And then when they're available, you have to ask each person, and then they change their mind, or they don't have any money, or can I switch the scales? And it was just an abomination. We have tried a certain time, telling everybody a certain time. And for a while, that worked pretty well. People got them. Maybe it took 20 minutes to get rid of all of them, a couple hundred. And then that became under 3 minutes. And then 100 people then told us that they had them in their cart. And they either told us by phone, email, text, messenger, private message. So we tried to accommodate all those people. So we said, we can't do that anymore. We've done approximate times when it might be. And then all day. What time? Is it yet?
Oh,
is it yet?
my
Yet?
God,
So
people.
now what we're doing is we have, we right now, we just had, we're making about 450 knives a month right now, and trying to increase, but not so much that you have quality issues. So what we're doing now is, as they're ready in the box through QC, ready to go, Hillary puts them on the website. It's sometime that day, or it might be the evening, or it might be a weekend, because no matter when we put them up, I have a job. Don't you care about people at work? I live in Yugoslavia. That's the bad time zone. How could you do that to me? I work all the time. I never get it. So at this point, we're kind of saying, until we have enough, which I don't know is when, and I know the Neutron 2 is going to do the same thing, and the Shadow is going to do the same thing. Until we have enough, that's our best. We think that's the most fair. Sometimes you get one and sometimes you don't. We're not playing a game. Some people think, oh, you're holding them back. Wow. No, we're not. They're just doing what we can.
Because we're in this for fun. We're holding it back. Hey, Jim,
yeah, right. It's a game.
Yeah. Put up Lavender Pants. So Lavender Pants says, sign up for the newsletter. Get info when, day and time, the drops will happen. Be at the ready when the drop happens. That seems fair to me. You know, if you're really actually serious.
But we did do that. And that was that created, because people at that minute, they will sign up, have an account, have something in their cart, like $3 set of O-rings. And the second it's that time, they're sold out. So someone else comes in like 4 minutes later, they're all sold out. That's not fair. That's not right. So we're going with this random days and varied times. I did get a really nice email, someone not really liking that method, but I won't mention that anymore. But no, most people just, what are you going to do? We don't have enough. We can't. Yeah.
Dirk says some people complain just to complain, just to hear their own voice. And
yeah, people get frustrated, obviously. But I know if Amazon runs out of something, I don't go call and say, I want it. I've been waiting a month. Where are, iPhones? I can't get one. I can't. Concert tickets. I can't get one.
I think
we don't. We just can't.
I think what you're doing is revealing the character of what you're selling. I mean, because what you sell is not just something, obviously, it's not an iPhone. It is, each one is labored over, and it's a labor of love. And, it comes from a deeper place than some mass produced thing. Christoph says, is there any plans producing the TR?
I did just see that. We have some parts, maybe 25 parts that aren't completely finished. And we do hope to put them, make them available at some point. There will not be a waiting list. There will not be a definite time when they're available. I don't know what we're going to do with those. So, but we do have plans to do that, or at least hope to.
KF Boston says, I love my TRM machine. And let me ask you, Marianne, what is your favorite knife, your favorite TRM knife?
Come on. My Neutron, of course.
All right.
Neutron. I will try the new one. I have tried the Nerd. It's okay, but I always go back to my Neutron. It's perfect size. Perfect for me.
Is there anything you want to tell our viewers? Anything I haven't asked that?
I'm over my time
there. Know?
You just let me go eat someone else's time off here, Bob.
Well, we're just waiting for him to show up, and then I'm going to cut you loose cold.
Cut me loose. Cut me right out. I don't know. I hate to tell people to join a Facebook group because we just got 300 members last month, which means 300 more people haven't gotten a knife yet and want one or two or three. So don't join unless you want. Jesse's great. He's Jesse. I don't even know Jesse, but he's like my little brother. I've never met him. He's a moderator. He's awesome. He got me hooked up with River's Edge Cutlery. Just some awesome people in that group.
Lavender Pants has a pretty interesting comment, if you don't mind putting that up, Jim. Credit to Marianne. A lot of issues that people had with knives disappearing from their carts. She went out of her way for lots of people to get them knives within a few weeks. That's pretty cool. That's the kind of customer service you're going to get from a company like yours.
We sure try, but that was something that we really can't keep doing. We used to, when we had the massive, they were gone in 2 or 3 minutes, we would save maybe 20 for the 20 phone calls. But this time, it ramped up to over 100. So that we just can't keep accommodating that way. Doing what we can. I mean, some people that are complaining, the only answer they will accept is, okay, you got one. We'll go through all the reasons that you should do this, you should do that. And we're trying to keep as many people happy and as fair as we can. And we are. And we say, G-Man, thank you, G-Man. We got some awesome people in that group. Really, really nice people.
I had an Atom in my cart. Can I get one now?
Yeah,
me
you
too.
probably-
I had one too. Yeah.
You probably have 5. I know. Somebody in a group said, "Tell them you had it in your cart." Wink, wink. I said, "Oh, don't do that to us. Don't
John-
spread that word." And then the word is that I sometimes have given hints out, and that'll be the new thing. Oh, just ask Marianne; she'll give you a hint. So I don't give hints anymore. I'm
It's
out
like
of the
the Da
loop.
Vinci Code on
They don't
your
tell me.
on your channel.
Exactly. No more codes. No more wink, winks. They're going to be there when we have them ready.
Jock makes his sandwich every day with his Adam and loves it.
They're awesome. They're
yeah.
awesome. They're great for cutting apples. Les does that every day. Cuts an apple for our almost 17-year-old dog, and they're great slicer. And please strop. You don't need to sharpen them. Strop, strop, strop. We will be having a new strop, the River's Edge paddle strop.
River's Edge paddles. So I was just told to check out the BT1000, and that I would love it. So I'm gonna have to check it out. Cool. I will check that out after this here show. So Marianne, I won't keep you any longer. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on. It's always great to talk to you and find out what you guys are doing over there.
Thanks a lot, Bob.
My pleasure. Take care.
All right.
Bye, Marianne. So we had Sanford Owen lined up for about now, and I'm going to stick around for a minute or two and see if all is well with him. Sometimes life gets in the way of very important knife broadcasts, I have found. But we did an interview with Sanford recently, Monterey Bay Knives. It's his outfit with Ray Laconico making some really incredible, beautifully designed and beautifully executed knives. The EWC, the EZC, those are two very, very popular designs by Ray Laconico. But I mean, everything he does that I've seen, I feel like I can identify immediately, but it's not like they all look the same. They all speak in the same language, but they're all different and unique and beautiful, simple, awesome knives and designs. But they've also expanded out a little bit recently. They have the VLD knife. It's a flipper. Comes in with a I think carbon fiber, but most definitely a micarta handle, and it's this beautiful Peter Carey design. And actually, when I think of Peter Carey, I think of something with a broader blade profile than the VLD. I think of something. I guess I think of the Rubicon kind of thing. G-Man wants to know what the best starter Emerson folder is, and I will get to that in just a moment. But the VLD has Peter Carey. Interesting. It looks like a Peter Carey handle, but I've never seen a blade like that from him. And then they also have a new knife called the Sprocket, and that's designed by, and very obviously designed by Jerry McGinnis. Definitely has his design language. So the question is asked, what's the best starter Emerson? And now I'm not sure if we still have Edwin on, but I would like to get his take on it too. Edwin is the most accomplished Emerson historian, devotee / collector that I've ever met. And he might have his own ideas about this, but I think, and this is not a knife I even own, so I might be wrong about this, but I think the A100, if you're going to get a starter Emerson, I think it might be the A100. Best starter Emerson is a Kershaw. That's pretty funny. Actually, it might not be a bad idea to get a few of those Kershaw Emersons. They're inexpensive, and you can get a feel for the design. Though, it's not what an actual Emerson is like all the way around, but you get some of the design ideas and what they're like in actual use, except for the chisel edge. Excuse me. But I would say the A100. It's got a neutral handle. It's got a very simple drop point blade. It is symmetrical, and I don't know if that means anything to you, but in most ways, it's a symmetrical knife. And he is a nice dude. I hope he makes it. It'd be great to have him on here, have him round out the couple of hours. So with that neutral A100 handle, you can kind of hold it in any grip, I would imagine, and it's going to be good to go. I would check that out. If it's a little too vanilla for you, they go in some directions, with design directions that are really awesome, as with choils and ergonomics and crazy blade shapes and such. But tell me what you think of the A100 if you end up buying it. It's one that's been on my list forever, but I have a very long list. We'll give Sanford a couple more minutes. I'm going to talk at you for a second, and Edwin, if you can chime in when you get that. Wouldn't you know? When we had Andrew Demko on here, I was like, I thought I had the Formax because I wanted to show it off, but this knife is crazy. So we had Douglas Esposito with Attention to Detail Mercantile with his really outstanding. I don't know. We'll see. I sent him his start time. Bob, Jim, just taking a second to tell you how much you both rock for slaying this town hall. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. It's always fun, and the fact that people are watching and listening. Oh man, it's awesome. I love some real knife talk, and this way my family doesn't have to hear it. Hey, Bob, what's your favorite production fixie? Favorite production. Okay, this could change at any moment. But I think right at this instant, I'm going to say the Tops Prather War Bowie is probably my favorite. I love Tops. I do think that next fixed blade I buy, I'm veering away from Tops. I have a good amount of their knives. Well, I have like 8 or something like that. And that's 8 knives I basically don't carry and use except for the here's the second part of my answer. In terms of fixed blades that I use, there are a couple, and one of them is a Tops, and it's the Tex Creek. They make a Tex Creek and then an XL Tex Creek. The Tex Creek, the smaller one, is great. Whenever I go outside, usually in the backyard, noodling around, that's frequently on my hip. Another one that is frequently with me, though I don't carry it because it's heavy, and is the Cold Steel Trailmaster. Just a big, capable Bowie, nothing fancy, except for the build. It's a very, very strong thing. I've had it for 25 years now, 25 years, and it's seen a little bit of action. Nothing too drastic. I did think it was going to save me from a mountain lion once, but it didn't. And luckily, there was no mountain lion, so I got that going for me. So Lindy Lou, check out Tops Knives. You can't go wrong with a full tang 1095 American made, stout but sharp as hell knife. And maybe that. By the way, Lindy Lou, I've been following your Instagram. You do beautiful work. She does anodizing and other modifications. Really, really nice stuff. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, I let you know, just got the email. John will be shipping the 8020 on Monday. Nice. And yeah, the A100 is such a classy blade. If you don't like it, just sell it to me. So Edwin just bought an 8020. I guess he got the 3V version without the opening hole. He got the thumb stud version. And so I'm just going to do a little recap since we're here. Haha, I've heard good things about Tops. Yeah, I have nothing right in front of me. Usually this is a good one here. My W48 Bowie that my brother got for me, and he got it for himself and then sold to me because he gave it to me. What am I talking about? Because I kept hinting, if you ever find one exactly like that again, please buy it for me and I'll pay you whatever you want. And he got the hint after a while and actually just gave it to me. This is the famous W48 pattern. I believe it's called W48. It's got the up and the down quillion, except whoever owned this before pounded this down so it came closer to presumably his knuckle. The handle was replaced with some anonymous bone, and not knowing what kind of bone it is, sometimes I wonder. But that's a great knife. So we had Douglas Esposito, Attention to Detail Mercantile, right out of Virginia, somewhat close to us here, making these beautiful, beautiful flippers and folders. And I feel like my next big purchase is going to have to be a Mark I because I just love it. And his inlay work is sick as hell. And when I went to visit him, he was doing inlay work. This was over a year ago, but he was using that machine that I know Michael Walker uses and others, but it's I don't even know what the hell it is. I don't know what you call it, but you kind of draw with one end of it and it executes the milling over on another area of work. So he was doing it all by hand. He's got 6 skills, and now that he has a CNC to help him, his work is just blowing up. We had Andrew Demko. You may have heard of him with the 80-20. So cool to see the shark lock in action and to hear about its inception. I have to get my hands on one. I mean, okay, I'm going to say this about everyone that I'm talking about, so I'll just get that right out. I need an 80-20 and will, and it's always a pleasure to talk to Andrew. Great guy. We had Alan Elishewitz, legendary tactical folder designer and custom knife maker, talking about his knives and showing off his latest one, the Dagnabbit. I'm having a hard time with names today. Orion says he can't decide if he wants an A2D Mark I or a yellow and black contoured Demko 80-20. Well, we can talk offline about that. So yeah, we had Alan Elishewitz. Always cool to talk to him. Also, just a yes, Dirk, both, of course. Always cool to talk to him. Always interesting to hear from guys who have backgrounds doing crazy, dangerous stuff that I've never considered in my life doing, and very admirable. We had Bastien Coves, French-American knife maker. I don't know why I felt the need to mention he was French. You could hear it, but something about it maybe adds to the gracefulness of his knives, because he makes some really deadly tactical knives that are just absolutely beautiful little works of art, in my opinion. So it was great to hear from him and to see his custom shop. We see a lot of his production stuff made from Lion Steel and Fox Knives out of Italy, but it's so cool to see the custom stuff he makes with all of that. So we do have Sanford. We're working on his email, on his internet on his side. So happy to say Sanford Owen is still here with us, or is here with us. And as soon as we get his internet up and going, I will stop bloviating and let him speak. LA Knife Life, $10. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thanks for doing this. I wouldn't have known the Solaris opened up to international without it. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, sir. I really do. And then we talked to David C. Andersen of Nordsmith Knives, and also you know him from Blade Center, his work over there at Blade Center, and talked about his canteen knife, and which is the perfect amalgamation of a Nesmuk and a Santoku. So a classic kitchen knife from Japan and a classic outdoors knife from Canada come together in the canteen, and then his other knives are also super cool. I love the jig bone pocket fixed blade, very cool. Marianne Halpern, we just had her. Love Marianne, and it was great to hear about the perspective of having too many people who want your knives. Like I said, I guess it beats the alternative of not having anyone want your knives, but I could also see the stress. So it's like everyone's got their cross to bear. So let's bring in Sanford Owen. We have Sanford Owen with us of Monterey Bay Knives. Sanford, awesome to see you, and I'm so glad it worked out.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Sorry, I had a little bit of trouble getting on this thing, but here I am.
No problem. So I was just singing the praises of your knives earlier. I was talking about the new VLD. I've been seeing a lot. Yes. Tell us about the development of this knife.
Peter Carey's a good buddy of mine, and we kind of toyed around with the idea of bringing something to life, and just bringing one of his customs rounds as a productions through MBK. It's kind of, excuse me, I'm so sorry. It's kind of just a wild thing that we wanted to do and have some fun with.
So Lindy Lou is really psyched you're here. She's been looking forward to she loves your knives and looking forward to checking this stuff out. She just commented there.
Sorry.
Oh no,
sorry.
that's all right. All right, I'll let you get
there we go. Get this on. So I have both hands. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's all right. I know it's hard to put the VLD down, when you're holding it.
Right. All right, here we are.
Oh, there we go. Oh, that's an even better shot. So, and then you've got the sprocket, which is also a newish one, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so tell us about that.
So that's another thing that's with Jerry McGinnis, another buddy of mine that we wanted to do a production model. Just recently, we started doing these the sprocket in a green carbon micarta. So that'll be nice. That'll be fun.
I love green micarta, and I love Jerry McGinnis's designs. Gil, what's up, man? Great to have you here, sir. I love Jerry McGinnis's designs. I love that recurve and that super ergonomic handle. Hey, Jim, would you bring up Ryan's comment, Spirited Blades? He was saying, hey, Sanford, huge fan of yours and Ray Laconico. Have a bunch of Ray's customs. He showed one off the other night on Thursday Night Knives, incidentally. Heard the micarta EWCs are coming.
That is true. I just posted a photo yesterday, and we reworked them, and they're coming out awesome. I think everybody's gonna be pretty excited about those.
So what is the EWC? What is its prime? What's its USP? Its universal selling proposition. Why should people buy this knife?
I think there's a lot of cool factor in this knife. We intended it for places that couldn't have locking blades. We thought maybe it would catch on, more over, maybe Europe and such. And there's a lot of European clients, but I'm surprised as well as it caught on here in the States. I think there's just a lot of cool factor to the knife. There's a lot of fidget factor. This one is the marbled carbon fiber, which we'll be doing another run of. We have the micarta ones coming, and with the same mechanism. I just posted a swayback version, so that'll be fun too, I think.
Nice. Love a swayback design. So I know we have a number of viewers from Europe. Why don't you sell this knife to them real quickly and hold it up? I know right now we have a couple people in Europe watching, and let's see it.
So this is, I know it's not gonna be legal absolutely everywhere in every country and in every form. I know that there are some size limits, but the idea was that if you are in a country that you can't have a locking knife, I think this is right up your alley. I think as long as there aren't a ton of length restrictions, I think this is something pretty special. This is a double detent top flipper, we call it. So in the open position is exactly the same as closing the knife. So it's just two detent ball holes and one detent ball. So plenty of resistance. If your finger's in the way, it's not going to close on you. I just think this is a good legal workaround for having something cool.
Yeah, and you get the style of a modern knife. You get the Ray Laconico, who, by the way, said good morning to you. I don't know if you saw that in the comments, but you get that Ray Laconico look. You get the MBK attention to quality and such. But you also get action. That's a cool thing that I love slip joints, and slip joint. You get this action, and it's a different kind of thing. So if you live in the land where you have to have slip joints, but you're craving the fidget action, it seems like this might be the way to go.
Yeah, I think so. I think even outside of Europe, I think it's just unique and different. And
Ray says we did the EWC because we thought it was cool. So glad a lot of people think so too.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, everything has to have a cool factor.
Hey man, if you can't have a knife company and do things because it's cool, you're doing it wrong. You're in the wrong biz.
That's so cool.
Love the overall. Could you put that last one up, Jim? I'm sorry. Love the overall profile of it as well. So let me ask you this, Sanford. This is the weekend of the rescheduled, canceled Blade show, and a lot of people go there. Obviously, were you planning on going and attending?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Blade show's fun, and it's a great place to meet people and show off all your new prototypes, and it'll be missed this year. I hope we could do it up double next year.
So did you stock up in anticipation? Do you have a lot of knives to sell off now because of the canceling?
Yeah, sort of. We held off a small batch. So so people could have an opportunity to purchase in person if there were a few things sold out on the website. What I've been doing is allocating those on Instagram, one by one, as either modifying them or just I wanted people to give people an opportunity to pick those up. But yeah, we definitely wanted to hold off some inventory for Blade Show.
Well, we have a lot of viewers, and a lot of people were waiting to see you. So let people know what you have and how they should, reach out to you. And
yeah, well, I mean, if you're looking for a particular model, reach out to me and see if I have something left over from Blade Show. I know I have a couple EWCs left, so if you're looking for EWCs, jump on that. I'll have some of these micarta sprockets here real quick. I'm getting these all worked up. They're here. They're just about ready to go. So if you're interested, jump on that with me. I definitely have a couple XLCs left. These will be back on the website here real quick.
So that's you said XLC. That's the large EZC. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
And that is a what's the word? Single billet.
An integral.
Yeah.
An integral. Yeah, it's a single billet of titanium. Pretty good size knife. This is full throttle.
That is almost, what is that, a 3.75 inch blade, something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is a beauty.
What else have I got? I have a couple EZC 2.0s, only like 2 or 3 of them, but I've got a huge batch coming here. Give me a week, I'll have them back. The EZC 2.0s will be back in stock, which is just the smaller variant of the XLC here.
And how does the EZC2 differ from the EZC? Not that it was called 1, but the first one.
So this is going to be an integral. It's
okay.
It's like almost identical to the 1.0. Other blade material has been improved from S35 to M390. Mm-hmm. An integral is the original. Actually, I don't know how people would respond to the 1.0. I know a lot of people like the 1.0. We thought maybe bringing it back for a very short time with the carbon fiber front scale. We're just toying around with the idea, but we'd like to know who's interested.
Yeah. So anyone interested in the EZC, kind of in the first configuration with some of that carbon fiber, reach out to Monterey Bay Knives and let them know. What about the old guard? I was kind of lusting after that for a minute before we started rolling. Yes. Tell us what the philosophy and the philosophy is kind of inherent in the name, but tell us the philosophy behind this design.
Well, it's just that it's in the name. Old guard is the original standing, the old crew. So we wanted to go back and do a tradition, just a frame lock, washers, thumb studs, no bells and whistles, just like back to basics. Awesome. And I think Ray and I hit the nail on the head with this one. This one has an integrated backspacer. So a single billet, one big old piece of micarta. We'll be doing these in micarta and carbon fiber. I think they're pretty timeless. So that's what we're going for. We're going for something really traditional, really original, and with modern materials.
Yeah. I don't need your stinking flipper or your ball bearings. What is this? Is this a tractor?
Exactly.
So something about this knife, when you hold it up in the spine, you called it integral. The scale, so it's kind of like a strider in a way, right? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know the terminology for it, but it just basically, basically building it into the thing, and for no reason other than just cool factor. It's just got to go back to what can we get away with, and how cool is it?
So it's that backspacer and the scale are one piece, and okay, that's cool. And I guess technically maybe it adds to strength and something like that, but which would add to the feel of the stoutness of it. Not like you're going to take that and chop down trees with it, but
right. Well, if you do, I want to see a video. I want to see how cool this thing performs. And
And then you can laugh at them when they ask for a replacement. What's the blade length on that?
This is 3.25, I believe. No, 3.5.
3.5. All right. So Ryan, Spirited Blades, Ryan, who has a number of custom Laconico knives, was asking if you have any special stock. What did that say, Jim? Any special inventory today to sell?
Today, I don't. I have a couple things in the works with a young man, Richie, and his awesome girlfriend, Lindy. They're definitely in the chat. They're the in-house modders. I have Richie, Lindy, and Eric Garza. Richie and Lindy are local. Eric was here at my home just 5 minutes ago. So we're all working on a couple things. And hold on, give me 2 seconds.
Sure. Tier 1 says that sometimes the best designs are the most basic, sleek ones. I agree with that in that it is cool to innovate and go deeper and deeper into a craft and come up with new ways, but it's also great to perfect the old tried and true ways too. Yeah, absolutely. So this is something Eric just dropped off, the scalloped titanium sprocket here. So yeah, if anybody's interested in something like this, these are up for grabs. I have a couple going on. Well, show that off. Hold it up. Let's see it. That's a beaut.
Yeah, that's fun, huh?
Yeah.
So, most if you're looking for some one-offs like that, just keep on my Instagram, and I'm trying to post up one every day or two, and it's kind of first come first serve. So, just jump on that thing. If you're interested in something particular, maybe I could get something set up.
So, what can we expect between now and the next Blade show, if you will? What kind of plans do you guys have in the offing?
Right now we're trying to keep to a schedule, best we can. But we have a couple models coming out. We have the old guard. Eventually I think we'll probably work on a mini old guard. So sub 3-inch. We have a model called the Pincher in the works. The prototyping is coming out. That's going to be a larger min pin.
Oh, cool.
That'd be nice. So that'll be a 3.5. That'll be a 3.5 min pin.
Min pin was your very first hit, right? I mean, it was your first knife, and what a hit it was. Beautiful clip point blade in a handle that has those lightning holes. What a cool knife that is. And the one thing that would give me pause in buying it is I like a larger blade. So I mean, the fact that you're going to come out with a 3.5 most likely is very exciting.
Yeah, that'll be nice. I'm trying to think what else can I share. We've got more EZCs coming out. We have another EZC variant that we're working on that I have yet to disclose. That'll be out. We'll probably throw some information out here in the next couple months on what we're working on there. We'd eventually like to do a slip joint. Maybe look into doing some lefties. I know I've had a lot of requests for lefties. I'd like to be able to get out there and fulfill that need.
Yeah, I don't think you need to do that. Don't worry about them. They're fine.
No.
They just got to learn how to use their left hand. I'm just kidding. So we recorded a podcast a couple weeks ago. We recorded an interview, and actually that's coming out tomorrow. So if people want to hear, I find myself slipping into, I want to start asking you all these other questions, but then that would ruin the podcast for tomorrow. So everyone definitely has to check out our conversation, and we go in a bit more in depth into things and find out also where you guys are heading. I think your whole business model is cool. I got to say I think that's something we talked about a bit. Like, I like the idea that the two of you have different backgrounds in the knife world, and you came together to pool your strengths, and then harvest some of the best talent in manufacturing and designers, bringing other designers in. I think it's a great model, and it seems like you can be very adaptive with that model.
Yeah, for sure. The one thing that we do want to work on is keeping things in stock. But other than that, that's with this business model, that's the only hurdle. But we're working on that. Other than that, we like the flexibility and the radical changes that we can make. Like like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that last comment? I think Ray Laconico had a comment about the swayback. The swayback EWC is coming too.
That's right. Yes, the swayback EWC. That's gonna be fun. If you could take a look on, I think Ray posted a photo of it the other day of the concept, and that'll be nice. That's gonna be a really cool model.
Ryan says, "Hey Ray, can't wait to see the swayback and the Lucinda and the old guard." But what's the Lucinda? That's one I don't think we've talked about.
Oh, that's going to be it's called the Rosalinda. That is yes, that's a cool knife. That is an inset lock, a knife design that Ray had done a really long time ago, and we wanted to revisit it. And we wanted to pay the homage and rename the name after Ray's mother.
Oh,
so,
that's cool.
Yeah, so the Rosalinda, that's in the works too. That's probably about 4 months out before we see the Rosalinda. We'll see the old guard before we see the Rosalinda.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Well, great. Is there anything you want to tell viewers and listeners? Anything that we haven't touched on that you need people to know?
Other than just thanks for the undying support. I mean, I tell you guys have been we've been so amazed at the all the feedback from you guys. Other than what I've said in the podcast last time we spoke. Not much. Thanks for sticking through it, and expect maybe 6 models coming out next year, and a couple variations of models that we've had in the past, and jump on our mailing list. You'll see all the new cool updates that we're going to be throwing out.
Tier 1 says he'd love to see a fixed blade. I think we all would. And I think, you were talking about the Blade Show and the other shows and how great it is to meet people. I would imagine that a lot of that, the fact that you have a lot of talent, under your shingle, and that you've been out there mixing it up with people and meeting them over the years, probably can lend a hand in your success, because not only are your knives like just undeniably appealing, but when you know that the person behind that is cool and you've met them and you've shaken hands and you know what their priorities are, it creates an even stronger bond with the product. So
for sure.
Anyway, Sanford Owen, man, pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for coming, dropping in, and just remind everyone best way to get behind a Monterey Bay knife.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for following me and checking it out, and Instagram and all the stuff, man. You guys are awesome.
You got it. Go there, guys. Go there.
Right
on. All right, Sanford, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Take care, sir. Bye. So there he goes, Sanford Owen of Monterey Bay Knives. And before we wrap up 100% here, I just wanted to Richie B Modifications, look forward to things to come. So he's one of the modders that Sanford was just talking about. So be sure to listen to the Knife Junkie podcast tomorrow. Good point, Bob. It was really about the relationship. Yes, and actually, Dirk, with how you've gotten to meet so many and gotten to know so many custom knife makers, that means a lot coming from you, because I know you develop relationships with these people. That's pretty cool. So tomorrow, can't remember the number, Jim, or maybe 142, Sanford Owen on the Knife Junkie podcast. We have a nice conversation about the outfit, and great people. It's like hours. I've just been talking with great people for 3.5 hours, and it's awesome, man. I love this knife community thing. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for coming and spending your time on a beautiful Saturday. Well, I don't know what it's like where you are, but thanks for spending time on a beautiful Saturday. As we close out, I'd love, Jim mentioned this before we started rolling, and it would be cool if you could leave a comment. We're not going to read it on there. We're not even going to see it until later, but let us know where you are and where you're watching from. I know we have someone in the UK. I know we've got someone in Switzerland, and a couple of, I'm just remembering from the names I've seen here. Dirk says, thanks for another great show, Bob and Jim. Appreciate all the effort. Yeah, the "and" is in caps for a reason, because Jim busts his butt, not just editing the podcast and scheduling things and getting things ready, but also during these live shows. Thanks, Blade Ogre. It's a pleasure to have you, man. Christoph great to have you too. So Jim's back there live directing the whole time. Lavender Pants. Oh my gosh. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that super chat. That's awesome, man. And thanks for the information on the knife stores in Columbus. So Jim, that's what I was talking about. You rock. Thank you, sir. We really appreciate it. Thanks for making this look great. Thanks, Lindy. This town hall was awesome. I appreciate that. Always a pleasure. All righty, guys. I think that's me. So thanks very much for coming to this Knife Junkie Town Hall Show and Sell edition. And, I just have to make sure that I let you know that you should never take dull for an answer.